All right, we are live. I'm sorry I was 2 minutes late. I was monitoring the situation. So although I wish I could have been on time, unfortunately, it is what it is. I was monitoring the situation, but we are here. We are live. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Tuesday, March 3rd. We got a lot going on, a lot of updates, a lot of headlines. Hopefully, everyone is doing well. We have two earnings that are very important today, Crowdstrike and Gitlab. Two software companies. Hopefully those names can put up some numbers that are really important. I am very curious to see what people think about Crowdstrike. Pump or dump? I'm going to put that in the chat right now. My gut tells me Crowdstrike's going to take an absolutely ugly dump because that's what happens with software. And it has happened with pretty much every software name. But I also think Crowdstrike's really important. Cybersecurity is really important. And hopefully because we're having a little bit of a green day, maybe we're not going to see that red. So let me know what people think. Then we have Gitlab, and then we will have Technical Tuesday with Jason, and he'll be on at around 4:30, and we'll get through those numbers. We ended up going slightly green across the market, not literally green, aka the index, the S&P 500 has not turned green, but man, were we struggling in the morning. 669 on the lows in the morning. It was ugly, to say the least. We were down 2.3%. Now we're only down 0.89%. So you had a majority, about 65% of the losses that have been recovered, which is good to see. And although 1% down on the S&P is ugly, it is way better than where we were in the morning. NVIDIA was at 172. That stock's now at 180. Zeta ended up going green. ASTS, great guidance. That stock's up 8%. Best Buy, they crushed earnings. That's up 7%. Microsoft was hitting 406. That's at 403. That's up 2%. Software went green. Adobe's up today because Michael Burry ended up buying Adobe right there, 270. So I think that's creating a lot of attention for Adobe. Crowdstrike right there, pumping a little bit into the print, 1.68. Again, Crowdstrike was close to $500 in January, so that one is still down a lot. Palo Alto, that's up 3%. I mean, across the board, again, not everything is green, but it's not as red as it was before. RKLB was almost below 65. Now that's at 70. Lemonade was almost below 92. Now that's at 100. So, I mean, you're seeing some decent momentum, which is nice. It's not a full reversal from what we saw in the morning, but it is good to see at least some level of the market come back to normal. Even BTC, which was hitting 65 in the morning, that's now at 68, which is not too bad. Now, why is that happening? And yes, of course, Palantir right there at 147. Palantir is actually the big winner of the day. Palantir did have a dip to 138, which wasn't as bad as some of the other stocks, but the fact that it was able to fight back and get that extra 2%, it's now even retaking yesterday's highs, which once again, I think just means the perception of them winning in the overall conflict is what the street cares about. And that's why that stock is getting some momentum, 147.29. Now, the stocks that are not getting momentum as we get to the end of the close are the energy stocks. I mean, what a reversal from this morning on energy. It's quite frankly kind of ugly. I mean, if you levered up on oil this morning, Oxy, BP, VG was up 15%. Now it's red. XLE, Chevron, Exxon, they're all red. Oil prices that were up 8% in the morning are now up 4%. That's a 50% haircut from where they were in the morning. A lot of people ended up getting trapped in some of these oil names because, well, why not? You saw that Iraq had stopped a facility that was producing 1.5 million barrels a day. Iran had bombed two different Saudi Arabian facilities that were producing around 1.5 to 2.5 million barrels of oil today. Then you had the Strait of Hormuz once again being argued by the Iranian IGRC that was going to be closed. I mean, oil prices had nowhere to go but up, right? Well, Trump has a different perspective. Trump, this is what he tweeted about an hour ago, effective immediately, I have ordered the United States Development Finance Corporation, the DFC, to provide at very reasonable price political risk insurance and guarantees for the financial security of all maritime trade, especially energy traveling through the Gulf. This will be available to all shipping lines. If necessary, the United States Navy will be escorting tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. He's not necessarily saying, in my opinion, we're actually going to politely escort them. I think he's basically saying, hey, if you don't let us through, we are going to make our way through as soon as possible. No matter what, the United States will ensure the free flow of energy to the world. The United States economic and military might is the greatest on earth. So I think what Trump is saying right here is, hey, no matter what happens, oil prices on my watch are not going to continue to go as high as people think they're going to go. And obviously, Trump is now conflicted with this whole affordability narrative, and that affordability narrative is at odds with kind of this whole make Iran great again narrative, and they're going back and forth. So I think the one thing Trump wants to make sure is that when people think of this Iranian war, they do not apply higher oil prices on cruise lines or airlines or at the pump with what's happening in the Iran war. Now, maybe that's inevitable that that's going to happen, but as much as Trump is trying to make that not happen, that is what his stance is, which is helping the S&P. We're falling just below 680 right there, 679.40. I don't know if that's the sort of end all be all to make things better, but at least in the moment, it's what's causing some more cause for concern around oil prices, which is good because you want the president to make sure oil prices stay low. But I mean, look, if this turns into a really, really ugly war and you have more and more facilities that get bombed, I'm not sure if that is going to be enough. Having said that, I think Trump has a good approach by providing enough insurance right here to make sure that oil prices can't continue to spike. And it's a temporary relief for today. If that continues over the rest of the week, that'll be nice. But that is kind of an oil trade for a lot of people that got into it this morning. And you're seeing a bit of a different momentum right here as we get towards the end of the day. NVIDIA right there, 180 as well. Again, NVIDIA got all the way up to around 180, 150, cannot break through. Zeta right there falling a little bit. That's up 2%. ASTS up 7.75%. Where's Lockheed and Raytheon? Lockheed is actually down on the day. Raytheon is also down. That just shows you how special the market is thinking Palantir Software is. If Palantir is the only defense contractor really catching a bid. Even the drone stocks, Ondas down 5.9% of the day, not really able to catch as much of a bid. Now, AVAV is getting the reversal bid because it never deserved to fall 20% yesterday, so that's up 10%. But Palantir, one of the only defense contractors that's catching some momentum. Bitcoin right there at 68,000. Robinhood, we talked about some of the updates they had this morning. That stock's down 3%. That was almost below 72 this morning. Even that, once again, getting a little bit of a rebound. Sprouts Farmers Market is ripping. Is it? Sprouts, yeah, up 5%. I mean, they had a good earnings last week. I think we covered their earnings last like Thursday. Or it was maybe 2 Thursdays ago. But their earnings also were not the worst in the world. Now, Rubio was just live. He also indicated that Kuwait ended up getting a drone dropped on them from the Iranians. Here's some of the stuff he had to say as we get into the close.
In addition to costing lives, it would undermine the effectiveness of our operations. All right, guys, I got to go. Thank you. Oh, what now?
How heavily is the administration?
Well, that's not our notification to Congress. Our notification, listen, let me explain to you guys this in simple English. Okay? Iran is run by lunatics, religious fanatic lunatics. They have an ambition to have nuclear weapons. They intend to develop those nuclear weapons behind a program of missiles and drones and terrorism that the world will not be able to touch them for fear of those things. And this is the weakest they've ever been. Now is the time to go after them. The president made the decision to go after them, take away their missiles, take away their navy, take away their drones, take away their ability to make those things so that they can never have a nuclear weapon. That's why the president made this decision. It was the right decision. And the world will be a safer place when these radical clerics no longer have access to these weapons. You see how?
So once again, Rubio making the argument around nuclear weapons, and he's trying to make the argument that this was the reason. Now, the clip of Rubio saying that if we didn't do this, Israel was going to do this, so we had to do this, ended up going super viral yesterday. The administration had to respond to it, saying that it's not about Israel, it's about the United States. The sort of narrative control shifted pretty heavily as a lot of people started asking the question, hey, are we only in this because you guys said that Israel was going to do this and you wanted to tag along? Or like, is there some real logic behind why we did this? And so once again, more questions than answers. And as oil prices continue to surge, I think that's why Trump putting out that statement to kind of ease tensions around oil was really important. But still, many more questions around how this ultimately will end up playing out. 680.05 right there on the S&P, as that is down 0.98%. ASTS right there, that's up 7%. Meta's down about 0.2. Actually, Meta's up 0.21. CoreWeave took it on the chin today. Could not get some momentum. That's down 5.5%. South Korea, little recovery, but still down. It was down 15. Now it's only down 10. Again, South Korea is very exposed to LNG exports from Iran. That ended up triggering a sell-off in Samsung and SK Hynix today, which ended up hurting the entire country's index by about 10%, which is pretty nasty. I mean, imagine if the S&P was down 10% in a day. Like usually a country's index, the ETF representing the country's index shouldn't fall like that, but it did. And that also hurt Micron, which is down 8% now. Micron basically hitting the lows of the day right now, 4 minutes before the close. And then SanDisk lows were 550. SanDisk is at 565, just a little bit above those lows, but still red on the day. So, I mean, it was an overall decent day if you compare it to where we were 20 minutes into the market open. But once again, it continues to be red. And I don't know if CrowdStrike is necessarily going to be able to put up numbers that can withstand the might of the algos at this moment. But, time will tell to see how bad this ends up becoming. By the way, Iran's ambassador to the UN in Geneva today also said if any base in neighboring countries are used to attack other countries and invade other countries, that would be a legitimate target. So once again, the Iranians saying, hey, if anyone is involved in any capacity and attacks us or is helping other people attack us, then as per our constitution, that is a legitimate form of self-defense that we can engage in. And we are going to try to do whatever we need to do, which continues to complicate everything that's going on right here. Have you been paying attention to photonics companies? They are moving. Yes, there was actually a really good interview with the CEO of Coherent that just got that NVIDIA $2 billion investment, and we'll watch that later. And, the way he was describing the bottleneck around photonics, which I know has become a bigger discussion for a lot of people, is something that makes a lot of sense. The AAOI, I know that's one way that people have been playing it. You've got AXTI, you've got obviously Light and Coherent. The problem with a lot of these names is I do think they run a decent chunk, although they're down 7 to 8% on the day because of the Micron SanDisk stuff. And, the thesis again becomes supply chain bottleneck for AI, which means you're acknowledging the cyclicality of if the supply chain is not within a bottleneck anymore, then, is the earnings growth and is the momentum as sustainable as people think? And because NVIDIA actually invested in Coherent and Lumentum, once again, it gives people a lot more confidence that NVIDIA themselves is not only buying a ton from these companies, but they're making investments because they recognize that these companies are going to be selling for a long time. And as a result, I think that's why the entire space ends up getting a pump. They probably would be up a lot higher if the Iran situation hadn't happened over the weekend because they were already pumping last week. But that has been something that's hurt pretty much every growth stock over the while. Wall Street Journal, Sam Altman tells OpenAI staff it built what will be the most important tool for global governments. Altman says OpenAI is looking to contract to deploy its tech on all NATO classified networks. Wow. That is why Sam Altman took that contract from Anthropic. I mean, if Altman's going for a piece of software within their models that will be deployed across NATO governments, folks, we're talking about tens and tens of billions of dollars, if that's the case. And that is what Anthropic potentially gave up on. But looks like that's what Sam Altman is going after. So once again, I do think whether you agree with how he did it, it's going to help justify their valuation. And now the time will tell to see if that ends up effectively playing out. By the way, Elon SpaceX is going to add Citigroup to their IPO bank lineup. The IPO is indeed happening. We have some more analysis on the IPO that we'll talk about in a little bit, but it looks like it is happening in the coming months, and SpaceX will be a public company. Tuesday, March 3rd, 4 p.m., we got Crowdstrike earnings. Thank you, everybody, for being here. The stock market is now closed. All right, we are done for the day. Let me see what you guys said on the poll on pump or dump. Again, my gut tells me CrowdStrike will dump. My heart tells me it should pump, given it's already dumped so much. So I really don't know about this one. 54% of you guys say dump, so the majority of you are thinking dump. We are going to find out pretty soon. S&P ends the day 680.33. SanDisk ends the day down 8%. Micron ends the day down 8%. Let me know in the chat what you bought or sold today. I bought more NVIDIA. As lame as it is, I bought more NVIDIA. Once again, I think I bought it at 179.50, something like that. But nothing too fancy. Just added more to the NVIDIA bag. And again, running covered calls on that, which have been working out so far. NVIDIA right there ended the day down 1.3% at 180. AXTI that ended down about 9%. Kratos ended down 2%. Opendoor ended down 2%. United Airlines actually was down a lot more. That's down only 1%. Microsoft, I actually like this as a buy today. Microsoft really does feel like this 390 to 400 level is becoming a solid bottom. And that's what Jason talked about last Tuesday as well. We'll see if he feels the same today, but I don't hate Microsoft at these levels. 403.93, that's up 1.35%. Carnival Cruise was down 2% of the day. Next Decade ended up going red. VG had a great day, but ended up slightly going green, 1147. Towards the end of the day, that was up 0.79%. Tesla, I see a lot of people bought Tesla, 392. That was also down about 2.7% of the day. AMD got hit even harder by down 4%. I would want to buy AMD, but again, the growth that NVIDIA put up, not being recognized by Wall Street and having the stock actually go down $30. I mean, NVIDIA is just, it feels as dirt cheap can be when it comes to NVIDIA itself. Not saying it can't go lower, but that's kind of the decision for me for getting more NVIDIA right here. S&P again at 680. How about the Qs? The Qs ended down about 1% on the day. What about Google? Google is at 303. That's down about 1%, which was okay. That was at 296 at one point of the day. Meta was at 632. Meta rebounded to 655. So again, not a bad reversal for Meta as that ended up green on the day. TSM, that was down about 3.7%, actually 4.3%, 353 on TSM. And then SOFI up 1.2. Noto, Noto, he bought. Streak didn't care too much. Just like Shift 4, Jared Isaacman also bought a ton. Well, today, Street didn't care yesterday. Today they care. That was up 6%. So you're seeing a couple of days of delay for some of these insider buys to get rewarded. Even Nike, you had a lot of insiders buy, but that stock really hasn't moved. Wow, Nike below 60 today. Goodness. Did not see that happening. Below 60 right there. You also had the Mercado Libre chief accounting officer buy some. That stock was down another 3.5%. SoFi right here up about 1.2. All right, earnings. Let's see what we got. I think we're going to get them in about 2 minutes. We have Gitlab that is already moving after hours, up 3%. Let's see if we can get those earnings. And then we have CrowdStrike. Let me know in the chat if anyone owns this. Even if you don't, it's super important for the software trade and for the market to once again remember that, Anthropic's not killing every single company that's out there. Again, 54% of you guys say dump on CrowdStrike. Oh, this was another big headline. Lutnick voluntarily agreeing to testify in front of the House of Representatives around Epstein. I think he's trying to do a power move here because he knew that he would get called on to testify anyway, so he's agreeing to do it voluntarily. But I don't know if that's going to be public. But if it is, then you will have Lutnick testifying in the coming weeks. Okay, Gitlab just went flat, so that after-hours move went red. CrowdStrike also went flat as well. CrowdStrike right there, 391, and then Gitlab, 2670. Did you buy more Grab today? No. I would say I have what is a full position in Grab. I mean, there's just buying more of it is not going to make sense at this point, especially because the reason I'm buying more of NVIDIA is because also there's covered call premiums. Grab does not have volatility, so there's not many premiums you can sell on Grab. So at this point, I'm holding on to my shares, but adding more just means a real opportunity cost for the dollars that I could be generating yield off of. And again, if I think this market is going to be choppy, which that is my conclusion based on the evidence that I'm seeing, I'd rather have names that can generate cover calls. But again, the framework I laid out this morning is you want names that are trading at low multiples that you believe in, that have good call premiums, that you're okay with letting go. And I wouldn't be happy letting go of my Grab shares at $4.50, which is where I would have to sell the call. With NVIDIA, if I have to sell some at 190, it is what it is. So that's kind of the logic right there. CrowdStrike getting a little bit of a pump. Getting a little bit of a pump right there. 1%. Can we get to 3? Can we get to 3? 3 would maybe make it happier. Got to 3%. 3.4. 405. Wow. GitLab also pumping 5%. GitLab just went red. No, now it went green. That candle's going crazy. Went from 5 up to 3 down. GitLab now down 7. Okay, GitLab's falling. Crowd, she's trying. She is trying. Looks like EPS CrowdStrike beat. Gonna get the exact numbers. Wow, 409, right back to 396. Market's not giving it any love. Are we seeing some momentum right here to the downside? CrowdStrike EPS 112 versus 110. That's a beat on Crowd. How about revenue? That's not a big beat, but it is a beat. GitLab, that's a big beat. GitLab beat by 30% on EPS, 30 cents versus 23 cents expected. 260 million versus 252 on revenue. They beat by 3% on revenue, beat by 30% on EPS. CrowdStrike beat by 2% on EPS. They came in line on revenue. And now she goes red. They came in line on revenue. Unfortunately, if you don't have big numbers, your stock gets hit. However, I wouldn't be surprised if this tries to reverse. It's only 3% down. It's not like 7 or 8% down yet. So I think the jury is still out. 1.305 versus 1.300 expected. Revenue's up 23% year over year. EPS is up. How much is EPS up? EPS is up 38% year over year. Street doesn't care. Street doesn't care. GitLab's up 2%. They also had a double beat. GitLab, again, beat by 30% on EPS. GitLab, important company, but it's only $4.5 billion market cap, so Nothing too crazy in terms of what the volatility should be expecting. But CrowdStrike was a $170 billion company in January. Now it's a $98 billion company, so it's been whacked pretty hard. That stock down too. Not enough. They need to beat by 50%. Yeah, I mean, realistically, these cybersecurity names, they're not cybersecurity, these software names, they need to beat by such a large margin that it's almost incomprehensible for the street to think about selling the stock. They're going to sell it the next day anyway. Like, that's what they did with Palantir, right? Palantir, massive earnings, stocks up 10%. Then the next day it's going to fade. But like in the immediate reaction, if you miss or if you come just within 1% of expectations, you get hit. CrowdStrike right there. Now it's down almost 3.5%. 378. What about Palo Alto? That stock is down 0.5%. It was up about 3% on the day. Intuit actually had a good day. That was up 3%. Intuit still moving after hours. Mercado Libre still down after hours. S&P is flat. NVIDIA down 0.14. S&P now starting to go red. Netflix actually had a good day as well. That was up 0.63. But CrowdStrike now down 4. She continues to fall. CrowdStrike was overvalued. It's slightly overvalued. So CrowdStrike, I agree, has always been overvalued, but people have really normalized the ability to pay the multiple for CrowdStrike because of the growth. Now, revenue growth is at 23%. We'll go to their website once they upload the deck. ARR growth is probably closer to 30%, but it's not like 70 or 80%. You know, it's not like the types of numbers they were doing 5 years ago. And so I don't know. I don't know how much the market's willing to pay for it. But they have normalized willing to pay higher than a normal multiple. CrowdStrike right there, down 4%. Let's go to the website. Let's see the exact numbers and see what we've got. They've surpassed $5 billion in ARR, 24% year-over-year growth. Net new ARR is up 47%. That's really what George Kurtz says is the lifeline of every SaaS company. What's your net new ARR? 331 million in Q4. Again, you pay a premium for that, right? 47% growth is not something you will get for cheap, but apparently the street just doesn't like it right now. They achieved positive GAAP net income, delivered record operating and free cash flow, reached 1.69 billion in ARR from Falcon Flex accounts. That's up 120% year over year. Fiscal year 2026 will go down in the history books as CrowdStrike's best year yet. Said George Kurtz, we achieved 5.25 billion in ending ARR, the fastest and only pure play cybersecurity software company to achieve this milestone. We also delivered record operating and free cash flow for the quarter of the year. Our record results showcase the durability of our growth and cash flow generation as enterprises rapidly adopt AI. CrowdStrike is mission critical infrastructure, securing AI across every layer from GPU to agent to prompt. The AI revolution is creating a massive growth opportunity for CrowdStrike, one that our technology team and ecosystem are well positioned to continue winning. I mean, that makes sense. He's basically saying you guys are freaking out, but AI is only going to be a tailwind for us. CrowdStrike now down 4.5%. So we shouldn't be seeing that much pain. Yeah, Stripe in the private markets is valued higher than CrowdStrike. Stripe's at 159 billion, CrowdStrike's 98. Now, we don't know all the metrics of Stripe, and maybe their margins are better, but I mean, again, like I think if Stripe was public, I think if a lot of these companies were public and had to deal with the scrutiny of public algorithms judging their stock on a minute-by-minute basis, you would have a different question. The guide, Street wanted 5.86 billion. CrowdStrike said we're going to do 5.927 billion. Dude, Palantir is going to do more revenue than CrowdStrike this year. Palantir is guiding for 7.3. Palantir is going to do about $1 billion more in 1.3 billion more in revenue. So, you know, not to say that automatically means that Palantir needs to be valued highly, but it's good growth from CrowdStrike. It's just, I don't know if it's exactly what the street wanted to see. 5.927 billion on CrowdStrike right here as that stock continues to dip. We'll see if that gets bought up. Gitlab now going red as well. Again, Gitlab beat on the top and bottom, but that stock is also down 3%. Palantir also has a rule of 40. That's at 127. Yeah, and I mean, look, if you're going to pay a multiple, I 100% agree. If you're going to pay an expensive multiple, I'd rather pay for something that A, is growing faster, even if you're paying a higher multiple. B, you know, is probably just more involved in terms of the AI ecosystem versus just cybersecurity, which I don't think AI is going to replace. But, you know, it's not necessarily an AI software play like Palantir has been executing against and has really been perceived as well by the market. TSM right there, that's flat after hours. Meta's flat. Google's flat. SOFI down a little bit. CrowdStrike, there's your earnings, down 2%. We also had Box. They had earnings today. Box is up 5%. They beat on the top and the bottom. EPS Street wanted 34 cents. They came in at 49 cents. They beat by 44%. Not too bad. And then Revenue Street wanted 305.6. They came in at 305.8. That's a beat on revenue. Revenue's up 9% year over year. EPS is up 17% year over year. For Box, again, market cap $3 billion. Really, Box and Gitlab didn't matter as much as Crowdstrike. And Crowdstrike, you're essentially getting a down to flat reaction on this as well. Okay, that's what we got, folks. Those were pretty much the earnings today. Nothing else that we're seeing outside of those three major names. So those were kind of the core stocks: Crowdstrike, Gitlab, and Box. Box is up 5, Gitlab down 4, and then Crowdstrike is down about 2.3 today. All right, cool. That's what we got for earnings. I don't think we have any other major headlines today. We talked about the Trump stuff with oil. We talked about Iranian drone strikes. We talked about Trump clearing the way for the Strait of Hormuz to be able to make sure that tankers can go through. We will continue to talk more about any updates as we get them. But outside of that, those were kind of the more things. And then again, Rubio, he held a small press conference. Basically, he said we had to do this and, continue to make the argument that if we didn't act, then things would get worse. And that's why we did what we had to do with Iran. All right, there you go. That's what we've got in regards. Oh, Ross, I forgot. You guys are right. Ross did report. Let me get those earnings. I forgot. Ross Stores, that is up 5.29%. This is actually a rather important company in the consumer space. Let's see if we can get their numbers real quick as well. Does anyone shop at this company? I feel like I've been there. Wow. Double beat. Dude, beat by 5% on EPS, beat by 3% on revenue. Target beat on the top and the bottom today and the guide. Best Buy had a great earnings today. You're seeing the consumer continue to shop at these stores. The only ones that have really been getting hit because of the housing market is Lowe's and Home Depot. As less homes being sold means less demand, but it's not like you're seeing the consumer struggle to shop at some of these stores. And that momentum is leading to some of these beats. Let's get some final coverage on CrowdStrike, and then we will get into TT.
Bottom line, revenue ahead of consensus at $1.31 billion. The street was looking for 1.29. And annual recurring revenue, that's been the key metric to watch for these software and cybersecurity names, up 24% year over year at 5.25. So a slight beat there. Looking at guidance, the road ahead for the first quarter, roughly in line with what Wall Street was anticipating. If we look for the full year outlook for CrowdStrike, revenue guidance came in above expectations, 5.87 to 5.93 billion. The street was looking at 5.86, and earnings for the full year guidance there is roughly in the range of what Wall Street was anticipating. That perhaps is what Street is looking at right now. We know the magnitude of these beats have been looking at, but Wall Street has been really focused for scrutinizing those numbers, Mike, as we watch the stock down about 2.5% here in overtime.
Yeah, it was up $6.50.
All right, CrowdStrike getting that 2% decline. You guys are saying that Ross is more like Dollar General. Well, imagine if they missed. Okay, so even if it's more for lower income people, if they miss, that would be worse. So it's good that they still have good earnings. And Matt Hollis right here wins the comment of the day. He says, "No, I don't shop at Ross. I prefer Rachel." That is the comment of the day. Shout out to friends. Shout out to friends. We were on a break. We were always on a break. All right, folks, it is time for Technical Tuesday. Thank you all for being here. Let us once again roll the intro. Why are you laughing?
I always get caught up. I know the intro is going, and I'm like, oh, we have to go back to work. Oh,
that's me every morning, right before it's 8:45, and then it ends at 8:47 for whatever reason. I don't know how that happens, but we're here, dude. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. It's kind of a wild market out there. I got my 7 my 670, I guess, this morning.
You did.
Um,
You did indeed.
yeah, it's just like it's funny, you know, like coming into the week on Monday, it was, and I posted a couple of things on X or Twitter, but like I feel like a drop off over the weekend was like the most like foreseen or broadcasted kind of move that could happen. And then we open up Monday. It's Sunday futures, absolutely like massive bloodbath. Yeah. But you open up in what we call like the hole, and everybody buys the dip. And then similar today, but with a little twist, because like I've been long oil and a lot of those stocks for a while, and even pressing some of those bets like from a trading perspective recently. And then and here we are, crude. Did you know that crude has now recovered all of the 2025 losses? Like boom, instantly. So I had to take measures in terms of like taking profit as a trader on some of those things. And I'll tell you what, man, I really, really didn't want to, but it is what it is. I feel like it was just the right thing to do. Cause yeah, I mean, that's your target, right? Like trade has completed, thesis has played out, you know, check the boxes, but you know, they have a saying like bears overstay their welcome and bulls overstay their welcome. So I was like a little worried. Am I overstaying my welcome if I stay ultra long energy here? Then I don't know. I was very sad. That's all I'll say. I was very sad to take some of these things down.
Well, so let's get into it. Let's start with the S&P. We'll definitely talk about energy today. So again, for those that are new here, we're going to do all the sort of large cap main tickers first. It'll take about an hour, and then we will stay for audience requests and try to get through as many of them. But definitely wondering how you're thinking of the S&P given the price action that we had today. And
before we start, stay to the end because we have a surprise. It's something I've been planning to do for a while, but we haven't actually done it. But
it'll be a surprise to me too. So stay till the end.
Yeah, it'll be a surprise for me too. But let's see. So you want to start with the S&P 500? He says.
Also, CrowdStrike going slightly green right here. So,
well, that's interesting. CrowdStrike always sells off on earnings, so that's new. All right, so where are we basically? So this is, I use like a 3-hour chart a lot, but we'll just do a quick look from a weekly perspective. So this is the S&P 500. The lines on my chart, white is the 20-day SMA, blue is the 50-day SMA, and red is the 200-day simple moving average, not exponential averages. And yes, I know this is a weekly chart, but my SMAs are always locked on daily intervals, as you can see. So it doesn't matter when I flip-flop around timeframes, they're always going to be in the same spot. So from a weekly perspective, look, we are getting a little bit weak. I feel like I should do this monthly because we had said 670, which was support, and we tested today right here, like 671. I think I said specifically 668. And I was coming up with that number based on some of our fundamental things that I do.
I mean, it bounced right off that level. So
it really did. And, you know, if you don't know what these things are called, these things called internals are, I mean, that's a big deal, but there is something called internals, which are like live market gauges. If you haven't heard of them, you can look it up or you can join the apprenticeship. But it's like if you're driving a car and the price of the stock is the car, internals are live kind of like gauges. So you have like a fuel gauge, you have like heat temperature, RPM gauge, all that kind of stuff to kind of see if you have a check engine light on or something like that. And this morning and Monday, we opened at what's called the hole. And you can see that in these things called internals, which I don't have on my screen. I wish I did. But that is where, you know, advanced decliners, have you guys heard of that before? Or you probably heard of that before, Amit. Advanced decline line, advancers versus decliners is a pretty common internal. It just measures how many stocks are going up versus how many stocks are going down. And there are 2,000 stocks in the S&P 500, right? Or 500 stocks in the S&P 500. I think it's measured a couple thousand. But when you're negative 2,000 at the open, it's kind of like, are you really going to continue full throttle in reverse for very long?
Right.
what these things are. It's just one measure. It's like a gauge. It's not a tell one way or the other, but it does tell you, do you press the downside or you press the upside or whatever. But what's different about them is that they are live. So this is kind of like that general support zone. I was saying 668 spot 16 is kind of like the major area, which happens to be really one of those downside targets if you've been short. That's actually repricing the S&P 500 to October levels. So right here, right now, it doesn't even seem like that much of a dip. We have already erased most of Q4 of last year, and we're in October levels for the S&P 500, which is weird because, like last week, we're a couple percentage away, but we're moving quite a bit now. So I think this is still an important spot. We have a massive event on Friday, which is the non-farm payroll number. And I think that's really going to determine the trend from here. But from an S&P 500 perspective, I think that we could actually get a bounce into that print back up to get sucked back into these major SMAs here. But I still have to be super cautious that this is not really an uptrend. So again, what I'm looking at here is, are the bounces really going to get faded? To me, the bounces have not been the major dip buys unless you're overly discounted, which we do have some of those, and you have a long enough time horizon. I heard you talking about Microsoft earlier. To me, that's you have to have a 3-year time horizon. Even Amazon, I think it's fine, but if you have a 3-year time horizon and willingness and ability to buy it lower if they happen.
How do you make sense of the choppiness on a technical perspective on why aren't we seeing that 5% down or 5% up happen?
There's so much there's so many complicated things happening in the market right now. The storyline is getting really muddied. So we know that there's geopolitical tensions, right? But at the same time, you get this, the way that it's been delivered is that if we think it's going to be a long, extended kind of standoff, that's going to be bad, but that's not how it's being kind of told. That's not how the story is being told. And because of that, and because there are a lot of stocks underneath, and I want to go to the next two charts in a second, which would be RSP and IGV. Because of that, there's still this underlying, what I would call a bid underneath the market. And there's still that BTFD culture of the newest generation, just buy the dip. And it gets bought up pretty quickly. And I don't think anybody's really seen many participants haven't seen a massive kind of prolonged war or anything like that in a long time. And at least nobody remembers it. But what they do remember is hey, look, immediate headlines, oil's going to go up, gold's going to go up, stocks are going to go down. I always buy the dip whenever there's kind of conflict. And it tends to work out over time. So we have all of these things happening at once, but I just don't think that it's really going to be solidified until next week, which is after these non-farm payroll report comes out. But that said, if we do lose 668, it still isn't going to be a long thing. And now March is typically decent, but it's probably, with the 200 days at 650, I think below that you're legitimately looking at 630s for a big pullback. But I mean, it's going to be a while because we're so high, and there's even earnings. By the way, this last quarter of earnings, this last quarter of earnings was, for me, when I track them, I track the Dow 30. Probably the best quarter I've had on record, measuring what customers, what the companies are putting up, the numbers that the companies are putting up compared to their estimates. I don't mean the street estimates, but compared to their estimates. It's 28 beats, 2 misses, the only 2 being American Express and poor Amazon. But I can't even remember the last time I had a stat like that from an earnings perspective. So that's also keeping the bid under the market.
That's a really important point, because for people asking why hasn't the bottom fallen out, the earnings are too damn good, and
they're really good, dude. They're really good.
Compressed already, at least to an extent.
And I think it's just the multiple compression that we're really looking at. And so I think here now, can you go dumpster diving for a little bit? I mean, I think you can. I think you can, but you know, it can't be like with massive size because we have a lot of headline risk also, which is also why I think we have a ceiling too, because there's so much headline risk. Everybody's scared. And so these two camps, if you will, of market participants are screwing the pooch here, and we are stuck at the index level.
Yeah, just like this headline right here, where Washington Post, Iranian drone strikes potentially hit the Saudi Arabia CIA office. I mean, that's not going to help.
Yeah. So I would say the Qs as an index right now also look, I mean, definitively weaker. I think we know that. That should not be a surprise to anybody. The 200-day on the Qs is 587. Now, can we tap that and bounce up a little bit? I think so, yeah. But again, it's not till next week. Now, the two stocks that I think are the most important to be watching are one, IGV, and two, RSP from a trend perspective. So we talked about IGV as the software sector as a whole. I think this is our chart from a prior episode, maybe, being at both a technical pullback for a bullish bounce, like a bullish support level right in here, and kind of like touching these kind of like what we call like liquidity areas. And today was the first day in a while, I think we actually got out. We were closing out of this 8250, which is a super crucial level, by the way. So tomorrow, if we can hold 8250, I'll just tell you right now, this index, which is the software sector, can actually have a pretty solid bounce up to like $98, just underneath 100. And unfortunately, still be in a bearish setup and not be holding trend. It could even get a little bit over 100 if it wanted to, and then turn into a massive head and shoulders. But this is what I mean. Like there are some, what you would call like what you'd be accustomed to, kind of deep value areas that look attractive. And a lot of these things could actually seriously bounce. By the way, this is heavily weighted Microsoft and Palantir. But again, we watch the combination of these. So this stock, this chart right here is going to tell you whether or not you're going to get a bounce in the software sector. And again, this RSP chart, which was to me looking a little bit weak, I believe last we talked about, lost what we call the 20-day today, but is still, believe it or not, inside the upward channel that it's been in. So it's actually acting right. It's just hit like the bottom of its typical trading range. It might have felt a little wild, but this open today is what I was talking about from another broad perspective. This is like you open, we're down, I think, tick, if you don't know what tick is like negative 1,800 opening tick, which never happens, 2 days back to back in a row. And advanced decliners, negative 2K plus, and net flows like ultra negative, but it can't really get that much more negative. So this one, it actually just barely held support. The best case scenario for the broad market is that RSP holds trend, continues to be relatively strong, and IGV starts to bounce. And so if I see those two combinations of things, hey, look, we're probably going to see all-time highs real soon. And conversely, if RSP falls out of bed, which it was very close to this morning, but saved by my little squiggle, that's going to be perfectly fine while IGV bounces. If RSP falls out of bed and IGV doesn't bounce or continues on its current downside trajectory, we're going to have a bigger problem on our hands. So
RSP is the leading. RSP, you would say, is a better leading indicator than even Bitcoin for the broader market right now.
I think Bitcoin is irrelevant right now. Bitcoin, you're going to have way too much shenanigans going on of, is it a macro hedge? I swear you're going to hear a ton of these headlines. I saw a bunch of them flying around this morning. There's too much noise over there. Jane Street, this, that, and the other. I just don't think it's going to give you a real read. Nor do I think is NVIDIA going to give you a read on what's actually going on, because although NVIDIA is 10% or just under 10% weighting of the S&P, we have what's the GTC coming?
Yep.
Right. Are you coming over?
No, are you close to where?
I'm literally 10 minutes away, bro.
All right,
Not even.
We'll do dinner. There you go.
Oh, you are going to be here.
Ivan's going to be there. A bunch of us are going to be there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, definitely lock it in.
Yeah.
Are we going to do a live stream?
We should definitely do a close. I'll be there on Tuesday. So technically.
Oh, do I need to clean the? I have another a huge building. I could put up a studio together. We can have this massive podcast station and get the whole crew over here.
Yeah.
But GTC is in Santa Clara, right? Not San Francisco, or where is it?
That's in San Jose.
I'm in. Okay, so I'm downtown San Jose, basically. That's where it is.
Perfect.
That's where it was last year. That's exactly where I'm at.
All right.
I thought Jason, get out of here.
Dude, it'll be nice if we can like somewhat V-shape middle of March because we have all these events coming up. But your argument is until RSP shows some real strength out of this box
weakness,
then
until RSP shows some real weakness, then I don't think we're gonna break down just yet, because this is what's been really holding up the market. And until I see like RSP break down, which it's not, I think the IGV can bounce I really think the IGV can bounce here, but only for a small period of time. But yeah, these two, the combination of them, like you could probably overlay them. I wonder if I could. I probably could overlay them on top of each other. What am I looking at?
S&P?
No, I was looking at RSP now.
RSP and IGV. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, IGV has also been interesting, and we can do Palantir next because that's one of the biggest components of IGV. But it always feels like it is consolidating at a bottom, and then it hits another 2% low every other week, which makes people. So
this is the overlay of the two of them, like this. So right now, if IGV just bounces a little bit, that's all good, and RSP can stay on the current trajectory. It's just I don't want to see IGV and RSP come down. That's no good. And even if RSP holds, but IGV is offsetting this just enough. Sorry, it's locked to the chart, but one on top of the other. But yeah, that could actually, if we have RSP come down and IGV come up, that actually keeps us stuck at the index level to me.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to Palantir. And I wonder if you think this bounce is more narrative based or if it's a bit more technical.
I mean, this is kind of why Palantir is a special stock in general, right? Like literally exactly this situation. So I was selfishly hoping maybe we see that sub 120. It didn't happen. It held the 120, which was really important. And so I think right now, what I did talk about before was that this can bounce up to 165, which, if you remember, is where Palantir broke down. So I'm a little bit more bullish all of a sudden than I've been in a little while, just if you haven't noticed. And that's because my downside targets have essentially hit on a lot of these and not continued further, but also all the hedge plays like oil and things like that, their upside targets have hit and they started to pull back. So that's the kind of like what I'm seeing in the market. So that sets up a bit of a potentially better bounce. But I really need to be cautious about non-farm payrolls on Friday because that can change everything. It's one more thing to worry about. So actually today, Palantir, this is the current channel. It's kind of poking its head just up over. So this is good. And even better, this little break above, pullback retest of that said trend line. Actually, let me not have a manual one. Let me just do it automated so I'm not I'm not messing with these and I don't have like my personal bias here. Oh, see, that's even better. So here's your downtrend right now. And she breaks out. I don't really ever trade the initial breakout, but I always watch to see how this goes. You have a pullback and a retest right here over 136. This is actually pretty bullish. Yesterday, we have something called the gap and go. So there's a small inefficiency here around 136.5. But as long as that is holding 136.5, I think this can be on a pretty solid trajectory, literally to like 165s, which from the lows, which I mean, that's a huge, if you were long at the lows, 30 something percent, potentially up to like just under 40%. From here, and this is where trade location becomes important. If it continues, you're looking at another 15% into that 165 to 170 range. But that is prior support. So I'm just cautioning everyone to know that that is going to be future resistance. Right here was that breakdown area. That was support holding right over here. So expect this to act as resistance if Palantir ever retests this right into this area.
Do you think the upside of around that 165-ish that I know you mentioned before is possible, or that's more narrative? Not.
No, I think it's possible. What I would caution is that there's one little level just before then. So that's about, so the 200-day, sorry, I just threw on a bunch of things. They got really busy all of a sudden. So this is a bearish retracement. These fibs that I have up here in this little orange box, that's a bearish retracement. That is like the definition of a counter trend bounce up into this area. It's going to suck it up right into the 200-day. I mean, you reclaimed the 20-day today and you held it. This is good so far. So,
but it has had the death cross or no?
It just had it.
Oh, it just had it. Okay.
Yeah, it had it. It has had it. This was your criteria to buy the dip, right? Death cross has happened Friday.
Huh.
Imagine if this were.
And then we happen to have a geopolitical conflict breakout on Saturday.
Is this the craziest thing ever? Like, imagine all the textbooks were wrong that everybody ever read about moving averages or technical analysis.
Okay.
I mean, it is what it is. But I think that's so funny. I think it doesn't go right away. I think these are going to be choppy bounces. And quite frankly, I'm an options trader, just as an aside. It's very hard to trade options right now because volatility across the board has been elevated, because when we're going down, IV goes up for the underlines that you're trading. And once you start bouncing, you're fighting that decay of volatility. And so a lot of things right now, quite frankly, are better suited for equity trades, or maybe even a couple days of these 2x leverage ETFs. Not that I'm promoting them or anything, but just for short trading moments, maybe a week or so if you're lucky. But it has been really hard to keep a sustained move. But that's where I'm at on Palantir. It's going to try. It's going to make a good college try. And we started this a while ago. We said, what's going to matter moving forward is how far these counter trend bounces can actually take us. And then once we get them, do they hold? That's what that is. This is not, I don't see a V recovery unless there's some headline in the charts, but I do see a counter trend bounce that could be faded. But this counter trend bounce could last a week or so, or maybe even longer.
NVIDIA.
Come on, can we do hood first?
Oh, we can do hood first. If you want to do hood, we can do hood.
Because we're doing the staples.
All right, let's do hood.
And I haven't really looked at it. That's also true. I mean, okay, so hoodie's not getting any love. Why can't hoodie get some love here? What's going on?
Dude, they have an event tomorrow. I think it'll be a good event, but I really, really think crypto is holding it back. And that's okay, because crypto is what helped it go up. But
yeah, I actually, so we got our death cross on hoodie the week before Palantir's. I don't hate this at all. I mean, I'm not ready to take off cover calls or go long, but the longer that this holds, this looks like consolidation. So if it bounces, I'm looking at 91s like this, and then I need to be a little bit more cautious. There is a just under 100, a pretty solid inefficiency in the market. Hood is so high beta here with like a SOFI is that I can see this bounce happening like real fast.
Yes,
just to retest this area.
It could be a 90 in a blink of an eye, but it could also be stuck here for the next couple months if things don't change.
But I mean, I feel like if it's stuck here for the next couple months, that's probably best case scenario.
I agree.
And then take the dip within that consolidation, which maybe it's brutal to 50s, but I don't know. I can't short this here. But this is a heavy watch. It's a lot of consolidation coming. I think you watch this at least for a counter trend bounce that could be pretty violent into the hundreds. But okay, so we'll go back to NVIDIA. I was looking at this chart. It's funny. So 185 is exactly
the consolidation we've seen on a large cap. It's gotta be in years, right? Like,
yeah. What'd you do for earnings? Did you? I heard you say you have some short calls now.
Yeah,
but I don't remember doing that before.
I've owned NVIDIA for a long time. If some of my shares get called away because of calls, I kind of don't care. But I didn't do the long call strategy we did on Hood. I'm just doing the short calls and it's working. Like,
no, yeah, I took an earnings trade on an NVIDIA that didn't work out that great. I mean, it was fine, but it wasn't like, oh my God, I thought it was going to be a banger because the setup was like exactly the same as last earnings. So last earnings, by the way, this is, I'll just move this over to.
I forgot you did a calendar spread and
double calendar. I did double calendars. Yeah.
And it actually ended up dumping. Right,
but it opened completely flat.
Yeah,
and so out of the gate I'm green, but I need it to hover around completely flat for most of the day for that type of trade to really pay out, which it did not. So I mean, it was immediately like green, and then me.
You needed it to stay at like what 178? It needed to stay at, or what did it need to not go below?
I needed to stay over 190. I didn't want it to go really deep below 190 or 185, which it did. So that was like, that's your stop essentially. But this is last quarter, not this quarter. And so funny enough, I'm just looking at this. Last quarter, we get this huge pop into earnings. And then as it goes, come on, push play. Am I losing connection? I feel like I'm glitching.
You froze for a couple seconds, guys. Is he losing or
am I losing you? Okay. I hear you now.
You probably lost me for a couple of seconds. Okay, you should be back. You should be good. You hear me?
Okay. So
yeah, you're good.
Anyways, I think I'm good now. So this was the move, and then immediately sell off, bottoming out, and finally catches the 20-day, and really kind of like hovers around 190 on the last earnings report.
You're still choppy, dude. You're choppy. Yeah, I think I would rejoin if I were you. Yeah, just rejoin. You're being a bit choppy. Okay, we'll get him back. What's up with the mid given his guest internet issues this week? I don't know. I guess the internet is struggling when they come on. It's been weird, dude. I don't even think it's a StreamYard thing though. It's definitely not my internet. Otherwise, I would be choppy. Let's see. Okay, should be better.
What's happening? Maybe it's StreamYard.
Yeah, I think it's StreamYard more than anything.
Actually, my internet was a little wonky just now. But
I love how we blame StreamYard for everything, bro. Just like it's StreamYard's fault.
I clicked this replay button on the chart, and that's when it started glitching. So I'm not going to do that again. But I'm not sharing my screen.
It's a cyber attack. Yes, that's what it is.
No. Am I doing vibe coding with Claude? I don't even know how to vibe code with Claude. But am I still frozen?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. So anyways, that was last earnings. We got this kind of dump. So maybe we get another one. But I don't know if it's always like this. No, it's not. But this time we have GTC literally around the corner, which I don't know if anybody's looking forward to. Have you seen any headlines about GTC yet? I don't think they're talking about it yet, but they will be very soon. So it probably makes sense from a trade perspective on this guy. I still haven't gotten my 160 something. But I don't think this explodes either, right? I think it's literally, that's your trading range, as close to 170 as you can, maybe even lower, and then resistance remains. It was 193, and I think that still stays just about 193, so slightly below the earnings high on NVIDIA.
So you're not expecting. Okay, the echo's gone. You're not expecting some massive, like 210, 215, like the time to do that was earnings, right? So now you just think it's kind of in this range.
Yeah, it's very flat, but the setup is that it could actually get tighter, which is kind of weird. Like it can get even tighter than this. Like it can get sucked into 185 and literally sit there for God knows how long.
I mean, dude, honestly, that's why I'm running the calls. Like, I kind of don't mind that, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it's not.
It needs a catalyst one way or the other, but it doesn't have one. Earnings was not enough to get it going. That's what's true. And it was not enough to take it down either. So tomorrow we have Broadcom, which maybe there's a sympathy pullback. But from a PE perspective, Broadcom's not nearly as well situated as NVIDIA right now.
Can we do Broadcom, AMD together? What are you thinking of those two?
And AMD? Well, Broadcom, last time I said I didn't like it. And, tomorrow we have earnings on Broadcom. I will be totally straight with you guys. Technical analysis, damn it. I'm glitching.
You're glitchy. Guys, am I gonna have to do technical?
Glitchy. You want me to? I can join from my phone.
Or how about you turn off your camera? Turn off your camera. Maybe that'll help.
Son of a bitch.
Okay, now just talk.
It just feels so weird.
It feels weird, but it's working. So let's just wait for a while. But yeah, keep it off for now.
Is it?
Yeah, that means everyone's just gonna stare at me now. So, but it's okay.
It's not working.
No, it's working. We can hear you. You're good. He can't hear us. That's the issue. We can hear you if you can hear us. He can't hear us.
I'm rebooting, bud.
All right, reboot.
I mean, so I could try it, but the next glitch.
No, you already glitched.
It's going to be a full reboot.
Yeah, just reboot.
Next glitch is going to be full reboots. I just don't. What you have to do is you have to measure.
Okay, he's out. I mean, I could do Technical Tuesday. I've been doing this for a year. I think I know how to do this. I don't even know how to operate on TradingView. I don't even know how to draw a line, bro. I definitely cannot do this. All right, while we're waiting for Jason, let's hear from another Asian, Mr. Tom Lee. Let's see what he has to say.
Tom Lee now, he's here with us at Post 9. It's good to have you back. Your thoughts as you look at these markets. Been real interesting price action over the last couple of days. Thought our reporters set the table very well on the issues at hand that investors need to keep their eyes on. What about yours?
Yeah, I think the headlines have been scary. No one wants to see the U.S. in a conflict, but I think it's been spot on to note that markets have been taking this much better than expected. I don't think anyone can say we're bottomed yet, but this is what looks like the makings of a bottom, right? That you get bad news and the markets are taking it in stride. And more importantly, I think we've had a position reset. And so on the other side of this, I think is going to be a lot of opportunity.
What would give you the confidence to say, you know what, that's a sign of a bottom? What do you need to see?
Well, some things like if we go back to April, a simple thing would be the VIX making a spike to over 40. You know, last year was 80, but we won't get to 80.
We were at 28 this morning. So we were a half of what Tom is, or more than half of what Tom was calling for to kind of put in that local bottom.
And then, of course, retracing. That would be a clean sign because that's so much de-risking. Another sign would be we get another scary headline and gold continues to sell off, and then stocks actually turn green on the day because that means we've washed things out. I think we're pretty close.
You're watching oil as closely as everybody else is. I thought it was interesting, some of the notes today. UBS says we expect only minimal or a brief disruption to global energy supplies. We therefore stick with our base case that U.S. equities, will produce good gains this year. Katie Huberty over at Morgan Stanley. Recent geopolitical events unlikely to change our bullish view on equities over the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, I mean, I think oil. I think we saw things that kind of made sense to me. Oil spiking on closures or potential closures of the Strait of Hormuz, but the response from Washington, and I think that's maybe more important. That I don't think Washington wants high oil prices into the midterms. And of course, it's very unpopular with Americans. I mean, it's a big burden. So I'm going to be in the camp that I'm watching the price action. I think it's encouraging that oil's not surging into the close.
A part of the Huberty note focuses on the AI trade, which has been really interesting, I thought, over the last couple of days. Back, some might say, to that safe haven type price action. I mean, look at right now. Microsoft's up, Meta's up, Amazon's up, NVIDIA's traded better over the last couple of days. What do you make of that?
Well, in our view, March was the makings of a bottom because the software, the Mag 7, and the cryptos we thought were like 90% through to their winters or declines. They are outperforming, and I think that's a sign of leadership. But fundamentally, you're absolutely right. If we get global trade disruption, you still need AI and you still need the Mag 7. So I think they're actually good fundamental stories. So I think investors do need to look beyond the headlines, maybe think 3 months, maybe even a month forward, and we just have to kind of wash through this bottom. But we already know where the leadership could be coming from. It's the software, the Mag 7s, and even the cryptos.
Okay, let's see. I think you're good.
So when I'm gone, then we default to Tom Lee for TA.
Default to the other Asian, bro. That's it.
You know, I mean, it's all good. My computer started doing all these updates, so hopefully that's what it is.
Okay,
hopefully.
Let's see when you start sharing your screen. If it was an update thing, then maybe that's enough of what had to happen.
It's Tuesday, so they usually do updates on Tuesdays, right? That's when they push them.
That's true, they do.
And I haven't actually been at this computer in this office.
Oh yeah, this is your I forgot.
Are we good? I think it looks good. It looks good. We all right?
We are good.
I have a lot of GPUs in this computer. I have a lot of memory in this computer. I think this is like a multi-terabyte memory computer. I think we're all right. It looks good.
Broadcom. We got it.
So Broadcom, TA is garbage for earnings. Yeah. So what I was saying is TA garbage for earnings. It looks heavy. 279 was really like the downside that I was looking at earlier. And so that comes from, I don't know that 279 is even in range for an average Broadcom move. That's my issue. And how you trade this is going to really matter. But between 279 and 245, there's a little area that's, well, what that was, by the way, that was the prior consolidation breakout. If I bring this over, it's like 250s. That's a big dip. But it's also a typical technical dip.
That would be almost 15%, bro.
That's not happening for earnings. I highly doubt that. I don't think that's within range. But 279 is probably within range to the downside. And also like 350 right back to whence we came would be actually resistance right now on this chart as well. So that's the best I can do. Like realistically,
do you move to 400 at all tomorrow or no?
No shot.
No shot.
Well, no shot. What? Like to 400?
Yeah, about 20%.
No, that's more like 30.
Oh, you're right. That is more like 30. Oh.
Has it ever moved 30%?
Well, it's down 30% in the past 3 months. So I'm thinking fundamentally, could they put up Micron types of numbers, right? Where the street's like, oh shit. But they're not getting paid from OpenAI. That's the issue.
I take that back. They have moved that much on earnings before. They moved that much in December of 2024. And then they gave it all back and then some.
Well, again, Sam Altman on the call, not on the call, but Hawk Tan on the call said OpenAI, they did a whole podcast that they committed to 6 gigawatts of energy, data center, blah, blah, blah. And then on the call, Hawk Tan, this is when the stock really took a nasty dip last time in December. He was like, yeah, OpenAI is not going to be paying us until 2027. And the street was like, but you guys just signed this like $80 billion deal. Like, what do you? So I wonder if they surprised the street with like early revenue or RPO, but.
So it moved 20% in September 2025 up. And then December 2025 looks like it moved down about 13% on the single session and then doubled that like pullback over the coming weeks or months after that. So like this would be best or like worst case scenario, something like this, which is what happened on the last earnings. Like I was saying, technically the setup is worse here, but the big massive caveat of like from the technical guy to you guys, like technicals don't matter at all when it comes to earnings moves, like at all. The only thing that matters from a trading perspective is how much is priced in versus how much is realistic. But if you're not doing options, even that doesn't really matter that much. But I could easily see 279.
AMD.
I did that while I
has been punished more than NVIDIA.
So AMD's at our spot. Like it's at the spot. It's just so not strong though, right? Like, and that 227 that we talked about last week, this was Tuesday that we talked about. It was like 227 is that prior all-time high. It's so important. And if it can't, here's what's true. The headlines that got it to 227 just the other day were not enough. Whatever that situation was, it just wasn't enough to get AMD up and over resistance. And so I say this a lot. If the stock can't go higher, it has to go lower at minimum to collect more buyers, because whoever's the market participants are right then and there, they're just not enough to overwhelm the sellers. So they have to go, it's got to go find more buyers. And it's in the simplest way is literally that. 175 is a full gap from, this was, what is it? This 175, I think it was a Meta announcement over here in October, early October, this area. I'm asking you. I'm not glitched, right?
175. Yeah, that was the OpenAI deal.
OpenAI deal. Okay, not Meta. OpenAI deal. So at 171, essentially, or just around here, that is the point at which you have that entire OpenAI deal for free. Whether or not you believe in it, I don't know. But this to me is support. Like it's like below 170, as close to 160 as you can. I don't want to get too in the weeds on it, but I will say like if I was going to do a round number, I'd say I could overshoot this 170 and actually get down to 150 on an overshoot. Because support is not like a hard line in the sand. It's more like a range. So it could pop up and then it could have a big bad moment, try to get there and then do this. But this ends up being the range as close to 160 as you can. If it loses really like that would be an overshoot to me. But that on AMD, I believe would be a buy. And it would be a buy all the way back up to the 227, which if that happens, let's say this happens and you get this little pivot, like that's a really, even if you wait till this, I see a 30% plus upside trade on AMD in the near future, but it's got to go lower first for that to happen. Does that make sense? Like it's close, but it's not really juicy enough for me yet. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but
it makes a lot of sense. I also think the market, as much as they pump AMD on these like equity sharing deals, at the end of the day, I don't know how much the market's convinced that these are amazing deals for AMD.
And so that's what we will see in the chart very soon, is that if AMD does go back to 160, that's literally what the market's saying. It's saying, hey, that open AI deal that you had before, that we cared about before, well, we don't care about it anymore. That's what the chart's literally going to be telling you.
Yeah, the good thing is OpenAI now is the money to pay for it, so it should
Yeah.
be something that plays out. Oracle, what are you seeing on this one in the data center space?
I just short every pop on Oracle, dude. I don't know what to tell you. But I do think that all my downside targets have hits. It's going sideways now. So I think it could go sideways for a little bit longer. You gotta like pull out a microscope at this point to see like where resistance is, because it's so frequent. And it keeps getting lower and lower, but also resistance. But also at the same time, it's like, they're not pushing it lower anymore. I had 135s. I actually had to like 115s, but I do feel like this is probably good enough for right now, especially with earnings around the corner. The shorts will probably start to cover. I have covered my Oracle short. I am not short Oracle here. As much as I want to be, I'm not. But I do think I could see this being like a slingshot counter trend bounce ahead of earnings, dude. Not gonna lie, up to like 175. At which point I would be short again. But I would also like to take it long for a little funzy trade. But yeah, this is, if I'm still short in Oracle here, it's like, dude, I'm getting super greedy, and I don't want to be too greedy. It's almost the same case with IBM, by the way. But we'll see. I'm holding on as best I can, but I don't know. But any higher on Oracle, I'd say 156 and a half is actually the major pivot. So you have basic resistance right now around 150. It's very squeezy in the mornings. Oracle is, even if it'll have a gap down, like we had a gap down here over the weekend, instantly got bought up, and today it put in a higher low. So why I even said at the beginning is like, I think you could go dumpster diving on some things. Not that this is just my thing, but I think that we could get some pops on names possibly like Oracle. I think 155 is almost a near given. But I do see it closer to 180, which is where the prior breakdown really was. So if you do see it do something like this, that could happen. I mean, how many days till we have earnings? This is Monday. Dude, Oracle's been making over 5% moves every single day now. So I know it sounds like a lot, and I know it looks like a lot, but it's like a coiled little spring right now. And I could easily see like, boom, somebody like Oracle having a 6-7% day, and then followed by a 5% day. And in 2 days time, there you are.
Before we move on to the next ticker, we do have an update from Mr. Trump. He has not talked about this in a while, folks. First time in, I would say, a minute. Crypto update. The Genius Act is being threatened and undermined by the banks, and that is unacceptable. We are not going to allow it. The U.S. needs to get market structure done ASAP. Americans should earn money on their money. The banks are hitting record profits, and we are not going to allow them to undermine our powerful crypto agenda that will end up going to China and other countries if we don't get the Clarity Act taken care of. The Genius Act was the USA's first big step to make the United States the crypto capital of the world, and getting the Clarity Act done is the next step to finish the job, and most importantly, keep this big and powerful industry in our country. The banks should not try to undercut the Genius Act or hold the Clarity Act hostage. They need to make a good deal with the crypto industry, because that's what's in the best interests of the American people. I mean, he hasn't talked that explicitly about crypto in a while.
He's not.
Which leads us to Bitcoin. Let's
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Real talk. If we're going to be contrarian just for a second, how is the Genius Act not going to be a sell the news event?
I think even if it is, it will still make the crypto markets feel good.
Okay, so but how is the event itself not going to be? Is there a scenario? Is there a single world in which it's so known? Like, is there any possibility of the actual event itself in the moment not being a sell the news event?
I 1000%. For the people asking about Clarity Act updates every day, I also am like, why? Like, crypto is being controlled by liquidity and macro right now, not legislation. So it's a good thing, but I don't think it pumps to 80,000 or anything like that. So I agree with you.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's a real question because I'm seriously, questioning this at the same time. It's like, I feel like it's a real question. I think that in trading, not investing, but in trading, we do a lot of the buy the rumor and sell the news, right? And so like the sooner that happens, like you can buy the rumor, but I don't see, and which means that we could have a nice little pop. But I'm trying to play the tape out in my head. It's like, in what scenario does it not become a sell the news event? Because if Bitcoin reclaims the 69K or 70K, call it, in strength, which it looks like it's actually going to do, I can easily see 78-ish in short order on Bitcoin. But I would need I would need this timeline hashed out on the Clarity Act and things like that. Because I would be very worried that like once it is Clarity Act, right? Once it even happens, is it going to be a sell the news event? And if the run up is strong enough, like, am I going to care? Like, what if the run up's to 96 and then the sell off is to 87? Well, shit, that's a lot higher than it is right now. So I think those are, I'm just toying with it because it's also not breaking down. I even took a Coinbase call, dude, call option on Coinbase. It was like, if I were to take this trade, I think that's how I would probably play it personally. But other than that, I think this is going to try. And I think a lot of things look like they're about to try, but come Friday and NFP, I don't know. So what I'm talking about is like, dude, it could be another,
we get NFP this Friday, right?
Yeah, this could be another 36 to 48 hours of glory, but does it hold?
Yeah. Well, I think the gold and silver dump is why crypto's pumped this week, but that's the extent of why I think.
I mean, I think the gold and silver, like that was a counter trend trade we kind of outlined a few weeks back, right? And we talked about it. If silver bounces, so I don't see a reason to short a lot of these things. Is my point, and I do see bounces on the horizon for certain things. I said that about silver when it was like in the 60s, and that it could get to about 85. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And that's what happened. Like it got to 85. Once we're here, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to press the bet, but I expect some kind of pullback, and honestly, a little bit of consolidation so that I can set up for the next trade, which I don't think is here yet, but it might be to the downside. It might not be, but it's going to set up very soon for me on these guys. But even things like GLD or
so you're not bullish on the metals or the crypto coins?
It's really tough because the debasement trade, oil, they all, like I said at the beginning, I hit all my upside targets like literally this morning, and my downside targets literally this morning on a lot of trades. And I'm like, that sucks because I really don't have a whole lot to do now, quite frankly, except for sit and wait for the next thing to happen. And I had to go kind of like searching for non-consensus stuff. Like you would laugh at the trades that I landed on today. But I mean, I had 2 trades, but I mean, they're kind of like way out of left field because I'm trying not to be super concentrated in the major consensus stuff, because I think there's just still those two camps that are probably going to keep things pinned for a while, like a gold or a silver. But I would actually be open to shorting both of them if they go lower from here moving forward. I just, we got to see. And there's still a lot of risk on the table.
Okay. And then on Bitcoin, you just think
Biddy, I'm staying the course. Like if I saw like crazy lows, I don't think you short this. Like I think if you've been short Bitcoin, I mean, it hasn't broken down. So what are you going to do? Right? Like what it's not breaking down right now. It needs a spike to get shorted into at the very least. So that would be into 78s, which means by default that it's actually a long from a trading perspective into that area right over here.
Okay. SoFi, are you seeing any love here in the TA?
I am. I took SoFi calls yesterday.
Oh, wow. What strike? Let me guess. 22.
No.
25.
No. April 20 calls, and I sold them out of the gate, dude, because I'm like, I'm not really buying it. So I failed on that one. It did fine, but it's not. I think I saw. Okay, Noto buys. If you didn't know, I'm sure that you guys have talked ad nauseum about that. But whenever Noto's buying, it's like it's a good thing. I wanted to see sub 15s on this guy. But it just wasn't getting there. And it was this very similar sentiment where like yesterday at the close, we had kind of gapped down and closed. Yesterday, we gapped down Monday, gapped down on SoFi. And just like everything else, it's like, boom, instant reversals. So I'm seeing this setup right here, right now on a lot of stocks. I'm going to drop down to a 30-minute so you can see it a little bit better. And we take this green box off. So this is Friday into Monday. And you have like this super clean gap. It's very small. These are just trades. They're not like positional things. You have a gap down, you instantly fill the gap out of the box or out of the gate, and then you proceed to close above the gap. So to me, that's like, all right, you should be long. And overnight, it gets a little bit extra legs, and then in the morning, you kind of just basically hold exactly where you are. So I still think this is long. I probably got shaken out of this because I'm used to seeing like, boom, I'm big green or I'm not. And this was kind of like right in the between. And so I was just kind of de-risking a lot of stuff. So I think this is still fine. I don't see 22s. I see like just over 20, but you got to buy a little bit more time. So I went to April for a very small little trade up into this general area right over here, which I think it'd still be fine. But if I'm going to, as an options trader, I actually want to be in the money before my expiration. So even though my target could be 22, 23 in reality, before then, I want to be in the money at that point. And I'll be taking profit before people even notice that it's really happening.
Downside is still 14 for you?
It is, yeah. So that's why I didn't the way that I trade it is because it's there. You have some good sentiment. Technically, it's holding for right now. It was actually a pretty solid spot. It's not the best spot that I wanted. But again, I know that I'm super greedy a lot of times, and sometimes I don't get what I want. So maybe that was good enough. And so I just went with the intraday kind of price action and took a quick call, which I'd be open to reloading. I just, don't want to get caught too sideways for too long again, because as an option trader, I also know, hey, look, in this little push down, volatility is really high. And so unless it has a sustained rally to the upside, I'm going to be fighting that decay. So in this instance, it actually might be, we might be just shifting to the area where selling downside puts becomes a little bit better than buying upside calls, which we haven't been in a while, because we would go sideways first. And that would only be if it actually does give me a cost basis sub 15. So if I had a put that I could sell, you guys will let me know, that would actually give me a cost basis of sub $15, I wouldn't mind that.
Okay. Rocket Lab.
The lava rockets. Ooh, it's out of the channel, dude.
It is.
Are we still on 5 minutes or are we doing shorter? I can do 2.5.
Yeah, no, we can start. Yeah, 2:30. We can start transition now.
Dun dun dun.
Those are all the main names. I mean, obviously, we'll do some more of the large caps, but yeah, guys, we'll start moving on to the smaller ones.
And we have a pretty good. We're getting through them a little bit faster now, and we have a little catch up to do because Microsoft updates or whatever.
That's why the stock is down this year, bro. 18% down because these Tuesday updates.
Microsoft. Look, so like this is, I really would have liked to have another shot at 60, but 61 seems to have been the best that I'm going to get. If this is holding 68.5 in strength, that's better. Technically, here's what I'll say. The odd part about this is that your 50-day simple is still in an uptrend. Your 200-day simple is still an uptrend. It was your 20-day that didn't, and it's at least going to flatten out right now. So any movement or hold over the 73 changes this chart entirely, and all of a sudden your 20-day will continue to slope up. And I think actually this, I don't know if you guys followed that, but it would slope up this way if the stock started to traverse slightly higher, not even a lot, which would then actually create a squeeze. And you're back on to 90s. Is this what we're doing? Are we doing this one? I don't know, man. I needed to be in the storyline. I struggle to find a fit.
Well, the storyline is SpaceX, right?
Yeah, but that's going to be a sell the news event.
You really? You think? I mean,
I don't know. Actually, I don't know. That's my gut. But
so the quick update on SpaceX that I read today, which I just think is very interesting. I think people saw that.
Too expensive.
Well, XAI is $20 billion in debt. Today, the bankers called up the lenders from years ago, or less than a year ago, that gave them the debt, saying they're willing to buy it at 117 cents on the dollar, which equates to about 20 billion in debt, or sorry, 17 billion, 20 minus 3. And basically, the article went into this idea of there's no way in hell SpaceX can pay back $17 billion of debt that quickly, right? They only generated 15 billion in revenue. So where the hell did SpaceX get 17 billion to pay off the debt? Turns out XAI raised 20 billion in their Series E funding round. Investors gave them the 20 billion to buy GPUs. And Elon is basically saying we're going to use the 20 billion to pay off all of our debt so that our books look better when we go public. And you can't be too mad if you're an XAI shareholder because you get the SpaceX stock. But it's kind of credible, the financial engineering they're doing to make this valuation make sense.
Which maybe that's why Tesla's not falling out of bed either, because there's probably that underlying sentiment of like, well, can Tesla do this?
But also to your point, maybe that's why maybe it could be a sell the news, because maybe it's not that attractive when it does go public,
Yeah, so that's the other thing, because SpaceX is going to come out really high valuation, I'm sure, which would probably make Rocket Lab even more attractive. So yeah, I like the area here, but it's not like front and center storyline either in terms of sentiment perspective, but and it has a lot of the defense things going for it too. So I also don't hate this one. I can see this one making a pretty big move, just like Palantir with the right headlines, like AVGO, who lost their contract on Monday, right? I forgot the name of the company.
Aero Environment, yeah.
Yeah, Aero Environment. Like that's the SCAR contract, I think it is. I mean, government opens that up. Rocket Lab's not going to get it, but ASTS might. So like there are going to be other contracts probably going out.
Okay, let's do given we're on space, we'll do Path right after, but let's do ASTS. And
I haven't looked at it today.
They had a good earnings yesterday. Good earnings.
Was it really though?
They guided for $1 billion in revenue by 27, which for a company that barely does any revenue, not too
bad. I mean, the SCAR contract going up for bid, I think, is going to be interesting. Like, because that would put speculation, right? These guys can take that, right? I could be wrong. I don't know.
I actually have no clue if they would compete for SCAR contract, but I do know they've won multiple other contracts in the past 2 months, which is why they even popped to 130 back in January. or 120.
Yeah. I think that something like that, you could see speculation here. I mean, these are all, that's the thing, like the downside moves. So from here to here, downside moves all kind of like hit my targets, which this is my target, literally right there.
79, that's the target?
Yep. Well, it's $76.68. It's literally earnings low. What that is, it's from this low to this high. This is the spot that I like to snipe. It's like 65% retracement. It's not exactly 50%. It's 65. That's my secret spot. But I mean, there it is in all its glory. Now it just has to hold 89. And you're good.
Okay.
To go back to 110s.
Path. This one has earnings coming up.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I mean. Like, this is the definition of dumpster diving, dude. Right?
Well,
Like,
it pumped to 17 early in the year, or 18.
I mean, you can't possibly start to have an argument here that this is not the definition of dumpster diving. $10 from a technical perspective. Like what possible?
A lot of
argument
people
do you
like
have?
this company, dude. But maybe a lot of people are dumpster diving. I don't know.
Yeah, go for it.
Them as the most
I'm
susceptible.
literally saying go for it. Like, have at it.
I actually see them very susceptible to threats from Claude. But then again, I also think they're going to be okay. You know, they're not going to die.
I'm talking about from a chart perspective, right? Not a fundamental perspective. Like from a chart perspective, this is in the dumper. We might as well look at Webull, but like, which I haven't looked at in a long time. But I mean, look at what's the C3AI? C3AI Monday was like it's the poop of the poop, right? And that thing was like a face ripper on Monday.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's okay from a trading perspective, not investing perspective, and you don't want to take a trade and turn it into an investment. Sometimes it's actually okay to jump into the deep end for things like that from a trading perspective and take your shots because you have a very tight risk reward here. I will say that. Extremely tight, extremely like good risk to reward ratio, stop being 10.25 with upside being like 13.50.
Oh, so you don't see the 15-16 range easily?
No, not easily. I see 13 and just under 13.5 pretty easily. 15 is hard. That would be really hard to get to. That's where you get caught up in like, ooh, you might have, if you hang on too long, you could turn a trade into an investment. But no, your support is here. Just under 13.50. This was that last breakdown area where people last bought. So anybody caught in this general area from late 2025, still holding the bag and doesn't want it anymore. When you get to this area, 13.5, if they're still holding the bag and they don't want it anymore, they're going to dump on you. 15 is too high from a counter trend perspective. I'm curious now. Okay, this thing's not moving at all.
It is just so garbage, dude.
But also, wasn't this my downside target last time?
I think you did say $5. You know.
So this is exactly what I'm saying. Like it's there. It's not going down any lower. I can't believe I just pulled this stupid ticker up. Do you want to know what I bought today?
What'd you buy?
I went dumpster diving.
Oh, don't tell me you did it. Don't tell me. Wow. You actually did it, dude. I would not think in 100 years you would actually no, you're kind of a
dude, it's just it is bad, but it's super simple. I mean, I can here now, I can put a stop at 52-week close, which is literally like 3 days ago.
This chart is it has to objectively be the ugliest chart. In this
No. We still have duo.
No, TTD. I feel
no.
Worse than Duolingo, dude. Because TTD pumped again. Duolingo never recovered. TTD almost made a 50% recovery. Yeah, that you see that right there, back up to 90. And then
90.
it fell back down.
Yeah, it sure did. but hey, double beat last quarter, no?
But you're not looking at fundamentals. You're just the chart.
No, I'm not. I'm just telling you that like I have not been saying that this is the dip to buy also, right? Like I'm not convinced that these are like the big dips to buy, but I've been talking for a while about a lot of these counter trend trades. Some have come, some have not. I'm kind of on the fence where like at this point, I don't mind taking a couple wild shots with very tight risk to reward ratios as a trader for some maybe potentially violent counter trend trades. But make no mistake, these are counter trend. I mean, I would be amazed and I would be short if this got to 45. So I'm not trying to be like, oh, this is going $100. No, I think 45 is maximum overdrive upside, but look at where support is literally right here. That's $45. I'm just saying, if we get a March through April rally, I don't know. You know, it's not
double from 40% up.
That's literally a double.
No, that's okay. So that's what I'm saying. You're expecting a double in TTD.
I'm not expecting, but like, you know, would I be open to catching that? I mean, I would be, but I would be out. I would be out like majority at 40 or just like 35s. And then I'll just see where it goes, but I'm not going to be putting anything extra in there. And if I get really lucky, I get really lucky. But, but I also have a pretty clean risk to reward ratio. I can't believe I'm talking about this, but
well, I think everyone in their own ways dumpster diving a little bit. Like Chris, he bought PayPal at 40. That's working out. You know, like everyone's picking their own names that maybe have bottomed and are trying to find some movement.
Yeah. It was just, honestly, I'll tell you what it was. It was just like this thing. I'm looking across the board. I'm taking my oil and some energy down from a trading perspective. And I'm like, okay, I'm looking at IGV. I'm like, I'm remembering C3 AI from Monday. I haven't even looked at it, but you know, just this little bounce Monday. I know it's not, I'm not going to do this, but dude, why is this up 12%? Is this little blip on the radar? I have no idea. I just remember looking at the percent, like that's really bad, but it's just a trade. Like it's a bounce. It's not an investment or anything, but if there's coiled springs out here, this is one. CRM is probably another, but it's too mega cap for me to. Well, it's actually holding.
Okay, let's get a couple other tickers before some of the large caps. This is one that I think was also really. Oh yeah, Micron. So South Korea collapsed today. How are you thinking of the memory?
I don't hate Micron, but like this move happened before I could actually take action. Last Tuesday, I said below. I missed it. Last Tuesday, I said below 410. I literally said below 410 last Tuesday. It becomes a short. I guess I would have had to anticipate this over the weekend, which I didn't. So I'm not short this name, but there it is. That's the gap. The gap is at 410. I like Micron, but we'll have to see. Right now, it's also not a new low. So that trade kind of like, dang, that's tough. Why'd you have to rub this in my face too? Because like I literally had this on the.
Well, I wonder if you think this is TA or is this just Korea? Because it feels like this is more Korea.
You know what's true is like it's really weird how they always line up to be exactly at the same spot, just like oil over the weekend and whatever headlines on Saturday, the attacks on Saturday. It's just weird how it always seems to line up at the same time. I will say that I made a post today that like this bounce that we're in the middle of, by the way, we're in the middle of it, is like the most populous. It's like a popular trade. Like if you think that these bounces are kind of like, it's consensus. It's like the current consensus trade.
Are you saying it's like an obvious dead cat bounce? or
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And so like in that moment, I'm not trying to put out a lot of money, dude, on these trades. And I just think it's obvious dead cat bounce that's probably going to get shorted. And you know, for those reasons, I'm not going to put a ton of money into things that I actually care about. I'll just play around for a little while I basically sit on my hands for the next major setup. But I think it's an obvious bounce. Micron.
I was going to say, I think you have the same thoughts on SanDisk then too, right?
Probably, but like I don't know that. So Micron might be a long tomorrow if it can't get below this 363 right here. It might be a long tomorrow up to 410. So again, from a trader's like perspective, this from here to here, it's actually a pretty decent trade. And somebody like Micron can do it. It's just like I'm a little bummed because I've been waiting for this one, and I tried it over here or wherever I did it, and then you just threw it in my face that, oh, your trade triggered and you were at the lows, and now I'm getting FOMO and trying to revenge trade. But that's, welcome to the life of a trader. But it's also not breaking down, right? So like, it's probably gonna test these lows, which is about the 50-day SMA, roughly 365. If it can't lose that in strength, then it's still got more life in it. And I as much as I might have been short Micron here and there, I'm not saying that it's a short in general. I actually think that it probably represents value in the market. From a fundamental perspective, GLW, I still like, right? Like I took a trade on this the other day, literally here, upside, took some profits, and then opened up basically back to break even today, at which point I closed the balance. So it was like it ends up being like a 2-day trade, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. It's just hard to get this like sustained move. I like GLW. I can see this coming back down. I'll be another buyer. But Micron, I think I was saying 300s. I'd actually be legit interested in putting a heavier size position on. From here, this is a trading range. It's not anything crazy. Like it's just a trading range. SanDisk, there she is as well. So I think these could be interesting watches tomorrow. But since they had fallen out of that initial channel, I think this is kind of what I've been expecting on a lot of these, is some kind of retracement. But the process to get there is not a straight line. So I don't expect these to fall out of bed. This one would be as close to 4 as you could for a basic retracement. Although this looks a lot heavier than Micron. This looks a lot heavier than Micron. The lows here are 540 on SanDisk. Right over here.
Yeah.
This is their box.
Well, again, all of them got hit in the same way because of South Korea, which is interesting. As you say, they all line up in the same bucket.
Yeah. What's the South Korea headline?
They have a lot of exposure to exports from Iranian LNG. And I guess that was enough to just tank Samsung and SK Hynix. And
okay, so these might be a short in the near term, but that's a long in the long term, because that and because the market's forward looking, I don't know how long it'll be a short.
Yeah,
because that's 100 and something day shutdown, right? 120 days.
Well, it's not like it's shut down. It's just like
it's not right.
They have issues,
but they're not going to be shipping tankers full of natural gas if there's a possibility of being attacked. That's not happening. Yeah. So, 120 days, give or take. I don't know. I'm long Oxy. Like it's been like one of my favorite longs, but even Oxy today, I had to take profit because it hit my upside targets. If you're in VG and you're wondering what happened, you hit those upside targets like very quickly.
Wow. Oxy's up 30% this year.
Dude, Oxy's up a lot more than that, like from the lows. A lot more than that. This is what's funny. It's like you used to chasing, NVIDIA or whatever, 67% from the lows. NVIDIA's flat, hoodie's down. We got Oxy over here who's up 50%. And you're like, really? Really, guys? Really? But it is what it is, right? So I think that again, my point being here that a lot of these from a very near term perspective have hit their upside targets. This purple line, which we don't talk about very often, is a 200-week simple moving average. So expecting, to me, I had this $60 range as that first initial upside target right in here. That's exactly what I'm seeing. So if this can hold, and remember this prior support over here, you didn't request Oxy. I'm on a tangent right now, but if this can hold like low 50s and actually create a net new base somewhere in here, that would be ideal. But there's so much tied to like the Iranian situation, Strait of Hormuz, whatever. I'm a little bit more concerned that there might be more profit taken than not here, but I like it, right? And I mean, at 35, at 40, I'm over here yapping like this could be a massive long, right? Like this is a trading exit. It's not an investing exit by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, you're still just barely over Buffett's cost basis right now. Like you're barely back. Yeah, I still think you're actually below Buffett's cost basis right now.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
But in a chart like this, I don't have to worry about Buffett selling on me because, by the way, all of this was Buffett buying. Actually, Buffett's not even around. So I have to worry about the new guy, I guess, selling on me. But this is what their cost basis is, literally right here. And whoever else is. So expect this chop and this resistance. But if it can hold and start trending over like $58, I don't think this is a short-term trade. I feel like that's a generational like mover. We're 3 to 5 year plus mover.
Okay, can we do HIMS?
Yeah. What did I say last time? Throw it in a drawer and forget about it. And now we're supposed to be talking about it again. But it is it has not gone any lower, guys. But last Tuesday, I mean, it went slightly lower.
It went below 14 for a second, and then.
I mean, I honestly have this as the level, or as a level. Like you've basically. Here.
Yeah. Why would you pick TTD over HIMS for pure dumpster diving? Or do you think
tech, software, IGV?
Well, the bulls would say HIMS is a tech company.
No, you're high. But let me get a little of whatever it is that you're smoking. I don't know. But if this is the last low, I'm just going to snipe out and pull this other low right here. That's about 1480. So I'm just doing a little strategical like order block pulling. There it is. I actually didn't know that was going to work out exactly like that. Yeah, there's your stop, 1475. If you and what I mean by stop is like if it's literally open below and close below the entire day trading, not like a wick in, dude, I think you're fine. You have at it, dude. Like they haven't taken it any lower right now. So you're gonna get a little bounce. Even if this just bounces to the 20-day, I mean, my God, that's 12%. Just up to the 20-day simple. From a percentage base.
I don't blame people for buying it here because, yeah, if it pumps to that 20-day, it's a decent move for a price that probably should be trading in a.
Yeah, and look how unsure I was about TTD. There were a couple of things like that one. I was able to go out to January 2027, dude, and get a $45 call for a couple bucks. But I don't need it to get up to 45 to double, triple, quadruple my money.
Right. Right. All right, let's do the data centers. CoreWeave. What do you think about this one?
Well, here we are back at the lows. This one legit looks like a falling knife. I don't know what's wrong with this thing. But you're at the lows again. So I think best case scenario, this is it. You just don't want to see it lose 65. So something, and I think with a lot of these things, like something like a CoreWeave, if you're going to go long, are you talking about trade or are you talking about investment? I think we should probably in this situation.
Hey, at 73, am I getting some deep value for a stock that was at 150?
Technically, no. Like you could see 40, technically speaking. But I'm not speaking to fundamentals or PE ratios or any of that kind of stuff. But that 40-ish dollar mark does not come into play until you're below 65. So what I would say is, from a trading perspective, if you want to take a shot here, you have at it, right? You got a little, your favorite, Amit's favorite pattern here, the double bottom, right? No, guys.
There's nothing to say. This is just like I get harassed every time we bring this double bottom thing up.
You get a double bottom, maybe you get a top. I don't know, but you even if you took this shot, I don't think that you should. I don't think that you should put a hard line in the sand on this one at $70.46 for your actual bottom. I think you could give that a little bit of breathing room. So on something like a CoreWeave, I'm just saying that you have to size it appropriately to give the stop loss some breathing room here, and the stop loss should actually, in fact, be 65 to be correct in this situation, because below 65s in strength, you are going to see 40s. But in the meantime, in between now and then, this is technically support. So you are buying at support, which is how you're supposed to do it, and then expect this to get to 88. But that's it.
Okay. NBIS.
Which means that it's close to 65 as you can. NBIS, man, I should have put these condors on NBIS when I talked about it. Did anybody
range bound? This is range bound.
Yeah, well, yeah, but did anybody do that? Like put the iron condors on? And we were like, dude, this thing is stuck in between this area.
I know a lot of people are selling calls, but
I mean, this thing has got to be printing. Like, it's got to be printing. Big guy, no way it drops to 40. Yes way. This stock does whatever they want. Like you always say, no way Micron loses 400. Yes way. But for how long? That's my point, right? If you see it, you're still here. So I haven't texted you still. It was even below the little spot. I thought about texting you. I was like, you know what, guys, I'm not going to text him. I can't do it. But I think you bought anyways because it was right.
Actually, so I sold at 104.
Yeah, no, like you're selling right in here, right?
Which I got lucky on. I didn't think that was a top or anything. It's
108. We've been talking about 108 forever.
Yeah, that is fair. It's very close to that 108 resistance, which has been resistance for almost 5 months. That's
yeah. And so I expect this to be closer to support than it is resistance here. So I think you could, but it's a trade. It's literally just a trade.
No. Well, here's the thing. If NVIDIA and AMD can't get a pump, NBIS, CoreWeave, IREN, which we can do IREN next, but like it's hard for them to break out, right?
Yeah. I mean, the neo clouds in general, I personally have a hard time with just because I mean, like to me, I like energy. My issue right now is like, well, energy is at the highs, almost all of it. There's still like, CEG or whatever that's been actually on a pretty, do you know Constellation Energy is still down on the year?
Yeah. They had a good earnings though.
Yeah, like that's in a reversal for sure. And I don't remember who brought it up last time or if it was in my group. But I mean, so support on IREN is 33.5. Not quite there yet. The neoclouds, I'm not really sold on. Yeah.
I understand your concern because for about 4 months, I didn't get them either. And I understand why people don't really like them. They're businesses that dilute. They're not profitable. And the only thing it's good for is data center space.
But more CleanSpark, Riot, all over again. Literally the same names.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, yeah, literally the same names in a lot of these cases too. So
I think the only two quality ones really are NBIS and IREN. And maybe Cypher and Wolf because they have some Google backing, but outside of that, I'm not buying.
Well, then they have this added complexity of IREN actually being like a full stack provider, where Cypher is not. Like just now, not even leasing the gear. So it's getting even more complicated than the Bitcoin miners were, which just blows my mind. So I mean, it's a lot of complexity here. I don't know. I would literally tell you as close to 33 as you can. And then I would expect to bounce basically to where it is today, which at that point, that would actually be a good trade from a trading perspective. Maybe that means it's a short in the near term. That's like 20%. This little blip on the radars, can you believe that little blips on the radars are 20%? If this gets over 39 though, tradable. And the only thing I'm looking at here is like, I think tomorrow's a day to watch IREN in either direction. Because if tomorrow is green, here's what this sets up as. This blue line is support. This could set up as a little liquidity grab down here if this does a little something like that. So it's a decent watch, and that would take you to like 46s. Otherwise, I like it better down here in the 30s, in the low 30s. But even if it does this up to there, that's still a trade.
Tesla.
Not liking Tesla, but it's holding-ish. I'm not going to change my mind on Tesla. I think this one, you're on the 200-day simple. You know, last time we talked, oh, where's my line? Last time we talked about Tesla potentially retesting 415. And I'm pretty sure that it did. Yeah. So this is Tuesday, Monday. Last Tuesday, we talked about potentially retesting 415. That's what that looks like. And then it would probably be to the downside.
Do you think this could collapse to like low 300s, or you think 350 is where
I do
hold the line?
I do.
But I don't see that happening without the S&P cooperating to the downside. Right?
I mean,
you think it could actually fall by itself?
Yeah, because it has in the past, and Elon's, kooky guy, which I would like to buy it again, quite frankly. But in this situation, I'm already hedged. I've been hedged, so I'm not really caring one way or the other. I will just say that 415 remains resistance, and we literally saw that in action right now. Now we're back at support. So if it can't, this is the lower end of support. So that's the other thing here. We're back at support. So what are you going to do, Mr. Tesla? I think that's the bigger question. This one looks pretty weak. I'll give you that. This looks weaker than the rest of them. But Tesla, one, doesn't follow the rest of the stocks in the S&P 500. Two, kind of like doesn't care either. So like it can look weak one day and then boom, be like back to 415, maybe even 440 the very next day. So it's pretty volatile when it starts to move. This is setting up to start moving soon. The technical direction is down. It is at support, and if it decides to hold, great. If the rest of the market is holding support, I'm not by default going to expect Tesla to hold support. Actually, what Tesla does, when Tesla decides to move, it's so self-centered and self-seeking, it doesn't let any other stock in the market move. So you're going to know when Tesla's going because nothing else is going to be going except for Tesla. And at that point on that day, that's going to be the long. And you're probably going to be stuck sitting there thinking, oh, am I chasing? But you're not going to be chasing. That's my 2 cents on Tesla. I love it, but that's the personality of the stock.
Upside target, you think, is around 450 if it gets there?
Yeah. 435s.
Amazon.
Unfortunately, it's the only one that missed earnings, dude. Why did it do that? Like I'm getting a little. I don't know what's wrong with Jassy. I was never a fan of Jassy.
They missed by a couple pennies. You can't even.
But in the real world, Jassy was always a bully to me. I don't know.
They re-accelerated AWS. What more did the street want?
I like it. I like the company. I'm just not. It's it's missing. It's missing the Bezos swag. Jassy just doesn't have it.
I agree with that.
He just doesn't have it.
Like I like Jassy, but when he talks, it doesn't give you that type of like.
Also, some of the things that they're doing, like what was the most recent spend, like their most recent purchase, where you're like, huh? Like, I mean, I don't know.
What,
I like
190s? Do you see that?
What?
190s is what you see for this one?
Yeah, 180. So 188s. Okay. The real juicy pullback, if so, we're not there, but if we were to hit like an actual bear market, I would really like to see Amazon at 150. But we're really far away from that. Here's what's mostly concerning to me. One, Amazon is the one that didn't beat their own expectations. Two, where you and I bought, which I believe was in the same kind of area, was around here, maybe even a little bit over here, right? In two somethings, low 200s.
212 was my lowest.
Bingo, right? This is exactly that. So 210, 212, and then up to 214. I remember distinctly we were buying in the same general range, right? Now and I put a little box here. I'm gonna turn this red, because if there are people like me or you that bought this in this range, and now when I push this chart forward and I see what they're doing or what's happening with the price, I see sellers at this exact same spot.
No.
So I don't like that combined with, the sentiment of like they were also, so these buyers, I'm seeing them become sellers right now. They're not sellers in strength. There's not like a lot of selling going on, and there is somebody buying below them, but one of these two groups is wrong. That's all I know. Either the buyers are wrong or the sellers are wrong. That was simple enough. I don't think this is a sell long term. I don't. But can I get this lower? I think it's possible. But this thing is pinned like nobody's business to around that 210 area. So until whoever's upset, whoever's got buyer's remorse from buying at 210 here and here, or 215, or even, between 210 and 215, until all the people who bought there are over their buyer's remorse and have sold what they want to sell, it's not going to get over that level. Between now and then, that's the battle that's happening.
Yeah, it feels like this is another candidate for covered calls, as long as it stays stuck here.
Yeah.
Meta.
No, that's a candidate.
Yeah, the premiums are way better on this one too.
Yeah. The best is Netflix, dude. I mean, Netflix is still doing good. Like that thing's not. So today, the like legitimate longs, I'm looking at things that like are not in the blast zone. Like I'm trying to get away from the consensus trade because they just seem so boring right now because they're just not moving. 635 is the support, has been, will be, remains to be. If it loses that 635, which it's tried to a couple times, you're going to see sub 600s. That's what's going to happen. But for right now, it's acting like support. So people are buying at this 635 level. Now, the thing here, and I just, just like if you didn't sell last time it got to 7 and change, if you didn't sell here, if you didn't sell here, or you didn't sell here, you're underwater. Even if you bought here, you're basically opportunity cost. You might as well have been holding Oxy because that thing's up 50%. But that's where we are. We're gonna find out what these people are doing. But it's support, has not broken down. It's got resistance also. So
I don't think it did round tripped earnings.
Oh yeah, it did. And the other kind of like small issue is that all the what we call inefficiencies in the market, we call it fair value gap up here. I mean, that thing filled almost. Oh, it did. So the way I do this, I grab this little wick before the big nasty candle. Yeah, this is clean from an efficiency perspective on the chart. There's no reason for this to go back over 750. Technically speaking, can we see sevens? Yes. but it's kind of accumulating here for now. I think this is still a better buy somewhere in here if you like it. But I mean, the saving grace here is support is slowly climbing. But again, this is what I was mostly worried about earlier, where that we're not going to see a V-shaped recovery. This is barely like a U-shaped recovery right now, unless these balances are heavy. It's more like an L, like, I don't know, an L, which is just not fun. L. But again, if you have a long enough time horizon on this, dude, I like it. Be ready to buy more and be excited to buy more lower if you get it later this year. Because long term, 3 years plus, anything here, especially Meta, you know, Meta is the youngest of the Mag 7s, if you guys didn't really do that math, and it has had the least amount of time to compound, which if time does heal everything, Meta is the one that has the most time on its side.
No, I agree. This stock's gonna be over $1,000. It might just take a little bit of time, but it's gonna be there. Microsoft.
I mean, I like it. Same sentiment. Wow.
Dude, 20% down to start the year is crazy. Like, actually crazy.
Not that crazy, but dude, this is what I'm talking about.
You're trying to get 22 times forward. Like, you know why I think it's being discounted? I think I really do think the OpenAI RPO, the street doesn't believe it at all.
And it's software. And it's
yeah,
getting
but it's not really like, dude, Microsoft's not ServiceNow or Sales. That's ridiculous. Like,
dude, do you think, first of all, the market is full of analysts who are experts in these industries that they never once worked in? Like, do you really think, like, there are people talking about stocks that have nothing to do, like, they don't know. So like, to expect the market to be rational is kind of irrational.
Well, but the analysts have upgraded Microsoft. I agree with you, though. The algos that think of it as a software name have just taken it down. But it is the moat on Microsoft is nothing to Salesforce or Adobe or, you know, ServiceNow. No,
I talked about this last week too. I think like in the real world, the one that would probably end up buying those SaaS companies is probably actually Microsoft.
Okay, so downside what, 370, you think?
Well, no, I'm just bummed right now because I was saying 370. I was saying 370, 375. And here you go again, reminding me that it actually got to 381. And I also said in the same breath that Microsoft never gives you exactly it. It's fine, dude. I like it. But so last we spoke also, 404 was resistance. And if it can get over that, then we're going to see 415 to 416. So that's just off the top of my head. 404. Now let me look at the charts and actually see if I was just talking nonsense or not. No, I look at, this is a good memory. 404 here. See that 404.24? That's resistance right here. So we saw it once, twice, maybe get a third shot, maybe not. But if this breaks through, then I think you do see into this range, right? Which does not look like a lot, but that's all that is your next level of resistance, which was support here. Then you had a little bit of sellers. And so I expect whoever's still caught over here who doesn't like it to be sellers. Now, when we were talking about this counter trend bounce is dependent on how high things do bounce from here. Think about this for a second. In a normal situation and in this situation, I expect prior sellers who existed here and here to become sellers also over here. What will change is if they're not selling into this as we get here and they start to FOMO back in anywhere in here, that will push this to 450. So at this point, so that means from here to here is trade 1, and then from here to here is trade 2. It has to be split up like that from a trading perspective. From an investing perspective, what you should take away from this is that you want things to go in this order. And in this scenario, you can see some sideways action over here. Expect it before you see potentially another secondary move in real life like that. That's how things actually work. And if it can't do that, then it didn't have enough buyers to make this happen. And so sometimes scenario 2 happens to the downside. But scenario one is what we'd be looking for in the near term.
Google.
The Googs. I'm feeling like I'm being too bullish right now. What's happening?
With what, the Max 7 in general?
Just in general.
And by the way, guys, please make sure to follow Jason on X. He also streams. Put in the chat if you were with him yesterday. You streamed yesterday, right?
I did stream yesterday.
Yeah, so put in the chat if you were in a stream, but I'll put his YouTube in the chat as well. You can subscribe to.
I try to get everybody's requests, but there have been more and more people that are asking for things. So I'm not getting to all of them, but I'm getting to a lot more than we probably do here.
I don't think you're being more and more bullish. I think you're also seeing that the charts have. I mean, Google is at 350 now; it's at 296. Like at some point, right?
295. But that's the thing. 295 was the low end of the range, and I mean, so cool. So downside targets acquired. You have to take profit. Worst case scenario, if you're a bear, which I might be, which is why I'm like kind of upset looking at these charts saying, hey, everything's going to bounce. If you're a bear, you have to expect some kind of consolidation before you have another move like that, which means that this probably sees 311, but one more time amidst favorite pattern, the double bottoms here at 295 until proven otherwise. This is the range that Google lives in. And that range actually goes to 330. I can't say 330 is in the cards right now. I can definitively say that 310 is more likely than not. It's more likely that we see 310 before we see sub 295.
On Googs.
On the Googs in the next 36 to 72 hours. After that, we're going to have NFP. And, by next Tuesday, I might be a bear again. But for right now, I've taken all my shorts, most of them down.
SPY is down about 0.24 after hours. The only two headlines I have are number one, the Senate will be voting on a War Powers Act at 4 p.m. on Wednesday. And then this, which is not the best to see, but you've got some senators saying they think they are the closest to boots on the ground after the briefing they got today.
I just want to say I am more fearful than ever after this briefing that we may be putting boots on the ground and that troops from the United States may be necessary to accomplish objectives that the administration seems to have. But I also am no more clear on what the priorities are going to be of the administration going forward, whether it is destroying the nuclear capacity of Iran or simply the missiles or regime change or stopping terrorist activities. And I think the administration owes it to the American people to have briefings, not just for members of Congress, but for the American public. Nothing here should have been classified. It should be available to the American people.
Do they describe?
So I think that headline, along with the war powers thing, might be why we're going a little red.
Dude, it's like this. We gap down tomorrow. They buy the freaking fracking dip again. And everything I'm talking about still happens anyways.
I mean, but that's literally every single. Like, look at this chart on S&P.
This is the most frustrating thing as a swing trader, right? And so, like, as a swing trader, it's frustrating. So it's like day trade mode all of a sudden. Like I don't want to have a ton of exposure short term right now, in either direction. But I'm almost like default inverse whatever the overnight move was, like out of the gate. Anyways, we'll see.
Let's do Adobe. Your boy Burry longed it today.
That's not my boy. That's your boy.
Bro. That's your boy.
You're the one out there fighting with them.
You're a bear, like Burry.
Look at this, dude. I mean, you know, I only liked Bray a couple times because he was in the same stocks like VF Corp. I think we had that at the same time. I'm out of that. I don't know if he's out of that or not, but that was it. But dude, this is the same trade that I've been talking about like all day, this whole time. This is the same thing. He's just dumpster diving. And sometimes I think you can do that. You go in the deep end. Sometimes those are where you're going to get the biggest face rippers because it's just a trade. It's not an investment. It's just a trade, right? And so, yeah, I mean, what did I have on here? 290s. I have 290s to just under 300. Don't overstay your welcome on this bad boy. But you're going to get short covering ahead of earnings because this thing is down so much. Like it makes a lot of sense. But remember, I took a shot at this last month. Do you remember me talking about this? I took a shot at this last month somewhere in here.
This range though, right? Or was it higher than this?
It was a little bit lower, and it went below. And I was just like, screw it, I'm not messing around because we're still short mostly. But here we are. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, but they're trades, and you have very clear risk to rewards here. Meaning, like, if I were to take, I don't know if you know about, like, okay, this is what TradingView looks like. If I'm going to take a trade, it kind of looks like this. I have a 5-to-1 measured risk to reward. I could even have it tighter if I have this as a stop loss here, say 250. And if I wait for a little bit of a pullback and get it around 265, that's a 5-to-1 risk to reward. I'm risking 1 to make 5. That's really good. And I'm not even trying to get all the way back to support.
So
I mean,
do you get why he's longing it here? Or?
Absolutely.
Would you?
There's a lot of things just like this because they're just trades. This can't be unless there's like a big thesis one way or other. This is the equivalent of buying an oversold bounce. Yeah. Like it's gonna bounce, but after the bounce, you might get new lows. We don't know, but for a trade, you get a bounce. Is it liquidity? Like, is it exit liquidity for a lot of longs? Probably. And that sentiment right there, because a lot of these, if they do get big bounces, probably going to be exit liquidity for a lot of stuck bag holders. And because of that also sets up like a later failure and why you can't be super heavy here because you never know when they're going to show up.
Okay, since we have Mr. Matt Money in the chat, let's do VG.
It's no different than my Oxy. It's no different at all. So did we outline this level here or on my show yesterday? If anybody was in my show yesterday, it might have been this. But I outlined this as like the upside target, potentially into.
Dude, this thing was almost touching 15 this morning. Like she was running.
I had up to, what is this, like 13 and 3/4, close. But when you get this big of a move, look, I did not get the 876 rebuy. But this is one, VG had earnings at the same time as all this other shenanigans that was going down. So it's kind of wild. You get like double move, so a little bit more magnified, plus extremely high beta at this point. So I guess what do we want to know?
So here's the question. Most of my community, Matt's community, Chris' community, if they didn't buy the IPO, which some people did, but I think the majority of people bought that 6-7 range. Now stock's at 11. So I want multiple perspectives. One, if you're long, is this just all right? You hold on and believe in the thesis. And then from a technical perspective, you're up almost 80%. Is there any profit that you think people should be thinking of at these levels?
So in reality, because this is my Oxy, in reality, I think you could trade into a bigger position. Meaning, like, if you, at certain points in time, you can press the gas. right? And then at certain, meaning you can lever up, meaning you could put a new trade on, like oversize maybe your position, and then when it gets a move, then you take it back down and you right size that position, and you kind of compound that way, and that would be trading into a larger position. I don't think that this whole natural gas thing, Oxy, by the way, is like over 50% nat gas. I think it's like 40% oil. So it has a little bit of both. VG is like strictly nat gas. I don't think that these are going to be things that you would naturally fade in the long term.
But
I
in
think
the short term, if nat gas prices come back down,
bingo.
Yeah.
When you get overextended to the upside, I think that if you are positioned to capture that, you can take some profits down and then wait for it to come back down to earth. So back down to earth is as close to 10 or maybe even 9 as you can. 9 3/4, close to 10. I don't think it goes much lower than that. But that is 40% from 13 and change. It really is. But this is now extreme high beta. And you were never going to get the $60 exit on Oxy, just like you were never going to get the $13.75 exit on VG in the pre-market. It was just never going to show up, just like you were never going to get the $220 exit on Palantir that happened post earnings. Like it's unfortunate. It would have loved to have had it happen, but it didn't. So it is what it is. And I think you could pull back half of this and get around 1050, but I think it could also overshoot a little bit under 10 at the same time. And I still like it. I like Oxy better just because I have enough high beta in my fund, like my trust. I can't go overly high beta. I just it's too much whipsaw for me. So I don't have a lot of these kind of stocks that a lot of people like to trade. But I'm just in a different place, right? Like my crew laughs at me because I'm more wealth preservation in general when it comes to investing than wealth generation. But I have like a little like call option flyers, if you will, on the wealth preservation. It's wealth preservation with like a flyer here or there on the wealth creation, but it's not big, oversized, high beta bets at all.
I think that's fair. And I think for VG, if you're long, then you stay long. But I mean, if you got in at 9 and it's at 11 and you never had a real thesis, I mean, that's money, right?
Yeah, it really is money. But same thing, Oxy. Like if you got in at 35, dude, it's $60. Like it's $60 in a few weeks. It's good. Netflix, if you got in at, see, Netflix is different. And this is kind of,
I was going to say, let's do Netflix next. Yeah.
I like Netflix because it's a little bit different. It probably is consensus, but at the same time, it's like, first of all, did you buy this or not? Because we outlined, I wanted lower. I did buy it, by the way, but I only bought a quarter position because I was really, this is my greed.
So under 75, I liked it, but the reason I didn't buy it is because I didn't know for sure if the deal wouldn't go through. Because if the deal went through, I think this thing would be stuck for another minimum year, dealing with the lawsuits and the
agreed
stuff. But now that the deal is gone, I mean, if that was the play, then boom, it's back.
But it's not even. But also, they're getting paid how many billions of dollars to not take the deal. Yeah. So it's like, whoa, that's kind of cool. Also,
yeah.
So yeah, I see this back to Warley 108s, right? Like, is that a lot from here? No, it's not. Can it come back down? Yeah, it can. But dude, at this point, if you saw an 8 handle on Netflix, tell me you're not buying. Like chat.
Everyone's buying. No, if you see 80 again, yeah, it'll.
If you see an 8 handle on Netflix, who's gonna buy? When will you drop what you're doing to buy it? So like, I kind of feel like Netflix is like the sleeper consensus trade at this point. Like all dips will be bought. Like it's wild.
Yeah, and I think the people that made money on Netflix, either they just believed it was
they made 1/3 of their annual revenue just from exiting the deal. Like
not revenue, but net income. But yes.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Because revenue they do like 40 billion. But the thing about Netflix is you either made money believing, hey, this is a stock that this is a company everyone knows about. It's down 50%. I'm buying, which is what a lot of people did on Robinhood because it became a top 10 asset on the platform.
So I mean, I'm really happy about that, by the way.
Yeah.
Like that's such a big deal.
It plays GameStop, which is good. or you genuinely were looking at the prediction markets every day to see what was happening in the Warner Brothers deal. And as soon as it flipped to Paramount, which is probably around like 86, I think that's when people went like, all right, I'm in, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about these prediction market things right now, though. I don't know if you're seeing what's flying around.
The insider trading is not the best, but none of that shit's happening on Hood, which like Hood didn't have a, hey, Ayatollah is going to be dead. So, you know.
Yeah, so that's the one I'm talking about. Like the one where like there's like $500,000 bets that somebody's going to die. Like,
but
like,
a lot of that shit's happening on Polymarket, which is not regular.
That's what I mean.
So,
yeah, it's Polymarket.
I think Shane has bigger things to deal with, but at least it's not Hood's problem, you know?
Yeah.
But I agree, it's putting a stain on the entire concept of prediction markets. Although, if you went long futures on oil on Friday because you thought some shit was going to happen and people were going to die and you made money, is it that much different?
Okay, let me talk to you about something too. I am can we tangent? It's slight tangent, not real tangent. It's a little tangent. So XOP is the ETF that tracks the oil's commodity, the oil sector, right? We all know what this is. This is the ETF, XOP. And this looks really bullish. Chevron, we've been looking at for a while, looks very, very bullish as well. And I'm looking at this because I'm long Chevron, I'm long Oxy, I'm long a lot of oil plays. This is today. And as I'm doing my adjustments, I'm like, oil's going on to 100. And Amit and I, just for you guys to like open the kimono a little bit, we were chatting and I was like, dude, you know, if it wasn't for Trump coming out of the gate being like, drill, baby, drill, I'm like, crude would be probably $150 a barrel right now, legitimately, if he hadn't already done what he had set up to do. And I'm like, dude, did he know that this entire time? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to overlay the price of oil itself. And what I was doing here is I was shocked to know, as a comparison chart, one over the other here, chart being the ETF sector industry, the orange line being oil, the commodity, that while yes, oil, the commodity, as of today, has made up all of its 2025 losses right here, this little blip on the radar. Comparatively speaking, the oil stocks are by no means a bargain up here. Like, but what's weird is that the actual commodity of oil is that wild? Like the oil stocks are not like a catch-up trade, as in, you know, the gold miners back in the day, 2024, gold was doing its major breakout, and the gold miners, they took 6-9 months before they even lifted a finger to make a move.
You're basically saying the spot price of oil is consistent with the energy companies themselves.
It's lower. I'm saying that the catch-up trade is the actual oil, the commodity.
Wow.
Not the equities. And when you look into this from both a valuation perspective and a chart comparison, this is it. This is the actual comparison. These are the lows. From the lows, like, you know, negative oil lows, the ETFs and the stocks inside of XOP have far outperformed the actual commodity. It's wild. And you would not have thought, now seeing oil at near $100 a barrel, that you would think that it's overdone.
Right.
But when you zoom out and you look at a comparison like this, you're like, whoa, it's actually not. Like, where are we right now? What's happening? So I mean, we'll have to watch this, but we'll have to see, right? Yeah, oil hit $100 today, but is it over?
Was that in the pre-market? It hit 100?
95.
Yeah, because that was when the Saudi Arabia headline hit about the oil tankers, the refineries getting hit.
Yeah.
I woke up early today, but even I didn't see oil at 95, so that was quick. But
it was quick. I mean, you know why your boy did, because I'm long all these freaking stocks, right? So like, I'm like, oh God, what do we got to do? It was all about take profit. And yesterday I did it. Yesterday, the pullback was so fast. I had zero time to close, like with options, like zero time.
Today gave you a great exit in the morning.
Yeah. Why am I was just looking at, I saw 95 today. What was I looking at? USO?
or is it Brent?
Yeah, USO. I'm referencing USO. So USO 95 today, but I do think that we are headed probably for if crude is 70, USO 95, crude is 75. I legit think that maybe crude can have a pullback, and I think one thing to take away is I think that the energy is still buyable, but in the meantime, for the next few days, there's these probably like way oversold, stretched out rubber bands that could snap your face off on counter trend rallies. But to me, during this time, if energy pulls back and I get some better buys here, I'm actually going to do that. So to me, like, honestly,
but you think Trump would let oil get anywhere near 100?
No, I think he's going to do everything he can to. And the more that you think about it, the more it's like, dude knew this was happening the whole time, didn't he?
Barron is loaded up the ass on these oil stocks option. I mean, dude, he's got to be making so much money off oil right now.
Yeah.
There's no way you can tell me the family or the friends of the family near the administration don't know some of this shit is happening before. There's too much evidence we have about this shit.
Yeah, it's scary too, because just like people are scared here now to go long silver or gold because they've run so much, oil's at this point almost like no different. So you kind of have to wait for that pullback to get your next entry, because one truce headline or one headline of it's all good, oil's going to come right down, which makes it here right now a little bit tough, and why I have to take some profits. But I'm not thinking about closing. I'm probably thinking in reality, adding on any dips in this space, which includes VG.
Yeah, I mean, see, the funny thing
What
is
is Matt think about my Oxy? I know you guys are VG, but I'm an Oxy dude. I got Oxy, Chevron. I even got SLB, which was down a lot.
The worst thing about Oxy on Berkshire's earnings on Saturday, they took a loss. They wrote down part of their investment on Oxy. That's how, like, Jason's up here making like a double on Oxy, and Berkshire is yet to break even. That's how.
But Oxy's also in their own transition. Also, I don't know if you remember, Oxy spun off a large portion of their company.
Yeah,
not too long ago.
Berkshire owns most of it, but it's hilarious, dude. Like, these oil names have been such a nice move in the past 3 weeks, but I think this conflict is what really created the catalyst. Otherwise,
it's just like that all the time. It's like it's just a spark that lit a little. It was oil on a fire that was already kind of burning a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, we got about 20 minutes left. Let's wrap up with some final tickers.
Rapid fire? No.
Yeah, we'll do rapid.
No timer.
Ticker symbol S. This isn't the cyber name. Yeah, Sentinel-1.
Yeah, so it's gonna go with cyber. It's gonna go Crowdstrike. This is not a best of breed player. It's a sell. It's a sell before earnings. It'll probably be a buy post earnings, just like Crowdstrike is. So if you see this sub 12, I would expect it. They're not special in the name. They're the second tier, third tier player for cybersecurity. They don't have you're not buying this over CrowdStrike unless you're on a budget yourself as a company.
Lyft.
Sorry guys, it's back to the doldrums, but this is probably it for now. Post earnings, this move is 1290s. So I think you could, if you're really lucky, back to 15s. But that's the counter trend. Bounce on that one. Worst case, you go back to the lows, but that's not a big deal. Not from here.
Photonics, AAOI. If you've heard.
Never heard of this.
They beat revenue by 900%, and yeah.
There's another is this? Optical transceivers. So this is the space. So this is my GLW. There's a Corning. It's the transceiver. So what I have been pretty stable on here is that what's not in question for the market is the fact that the data center build-outs are real, and the money that's being spent to build out said data centers is real. What is in question and remains to be in question are the companies that are spending the money to build these data centers going to make it, and are they going to make enough money in a right amount of time to buy these things? So is this in the right space? It is. Has it run a lot? Yeah. This is a $7 billion market cap, actually not that small anymore, but to go from $30 to $100 from that market cap perspective, it's probably like 2 billion to 10 billion. It's not actually that difficult. It is in the right space. I think there's another one, VIAV. Is that it? Yeah. Same story here. So 7.6 billion. I like this space. This is GLW, right? The thing I like about Corning is that it is optical fiber. And if you haven't seen an optical fiber cable next to a Cat6 Ethernet cable, fiber is just protocol, like it's literally a quarter the size. And one caveat for the Freeport trade is that the fiber stuff is like the backbone of AI buildouts for speed from a transport perspective. So it's probably replacing a lot of Ethernet, which means a lot of, copper stuff gets replaced for Corning. So, I mean, again, one more for GLW, but they've all moved quite a bit. I think post earnings here, you're looking, this is a slower one. This was not your request, but I like this one. AAOI was the request. They just had earnings. I think it's like a foregone conclusion. In any of the earnings, if you were to take a flyer on any earnings trade, the only ones that have worked are these, like across the board this quarter. The other ones, yeah, they might have done well, but the only ones that actually worked and sustained their moves are these. And this is the trend, like transceivers, things like that. So I like it, but you need to wait a little bit for a pullback as close to 60 as possible. Amphenol is the best of breed. This one actually taking a bit of, not the best of breed, but it's like the legacy player. But this one actually taking a bit of a breather here. So at $160 billion market cap, GLW Corning is still 130 something billion, 126 billion today. So there's room from that perspective, but also Corning has Gorilla Glass if you like Apple. And Apple had new products today. Was it today that Apple released the new products?
They're announcing it. Yeah.
Tomorrow, Amit's going to buy another iPad Pro.
Dude, in 3 months, I will pay off my Apple balance and I will be done buying Apple products for the next 5 years.
Really?
I pay them so much every month because they give 0% APR. So I'll just take the 12-month thing and then.
Really?
Yeah, you can buy an iPad and monthly payments for a year.
Can
we do Ondas? This one's a big one.
Yeah. How is Amphenol not a buy though right now? Why is this one taking the biggest hit? Because it's like got new players in the room. I feel like that's a buy. Ondas. I mean,
you would think this catches a bigger bid with the drone stuff, the war stuff, right?
I think this is going to be so the contract that these guys lost. Who is it maintained outperform?
Aero Environment.
Yeah, I'm on it. It was the who can compete for it's SCAR, SCAR, right?
Dude, honestly,
that contract,
I don't even know what the contract means. So I don't even know if Ondas or Red.
I think it's a satellite contract.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Absolutely. So Ondas is drones. I'm asking this because
guys, could Ondas or Kratos even try to compete for that?
Stop work order. There's got to be a problem here. They stop work. You lost the contract. SCAR program involves producing Badger phased array antenna systems. So it's this U.S. Space Force to modernize ground station capabilities. So whatever they were building here, whoever can build this, I mean, I don't see that you don't stop a contract unless you're pissed off, really. Or if you're just pissed off. And even if you give it back to them, it's like you're going to get a better price. But amend, well, or they already know who they want to go with outside of AVAV, Aero Environment. It's an antenna Scar antenna. So whoever does this.
Okay, so Ondas technicals, how's that?
So I don't think Ondas, I don't think it's the right space to look at in space is my point. Maybe it's Iridium. I don't know. That's old school, but it could be Iridium.
Okay, can we do AppLovin?
Yeah, this one. Yeah, so it's neutral to sell. AppLovin.
350 bottom.
You want to do this tomorrow?
What do you mean do this?
I don't hate it. I think you could take a shot, but you got to put a stop at around 385.
It's one of the higher quality SaaS names, but
I know I'm over here buying freaking TTD. Dude, like, what are we doing? I don't hate it. I think upside 500s, low 500s for a counter trend bounce.
okay. And again, guys, Jason said neutral to sell on Ondas.
I did.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to give your high or low real quick on Ondas.
I mean, so it has not changed from the last time. So the lows support are in like low nines. Resistance remains 12 and a half.
Okay, there you go. I mean, again, it spiked up to 13, 14 the day the war broke out. A lot of these trades happened, you know, like if you loaded up drones last week, people are selling those trades now.
Look
Outside
at
of
me, right?
Palantir, which is not showing any weakness, everything else has shown a pump and a dump if it was a war trade, oil, drones, etc.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm in the same boat, guys, right? Like I've been long a lot of this stuff, and I'm just telling you today, I had to sell, I had to take profits on a lot of things. It's with the intention to buy it back later, lower, but I know that I know that I should expect some kind of pullback here. And while that's pulling back, I could probably get some face ripping bounces for the next few days in some of this like crazy IGV stuff. And maybe that works out. But when I'm done with that, I just know where I'm coming back. I'm coming back. I'm not done.
Zeta.
Hey, she's alive. This one's already made a big bounce also. So look at that, 13 and change, almost 14. That's not bad. You've actually already started to bounce here. 1973, mid 19s upside target, hold. But if you're already long, up to mid 19s, a buy. If you see it pull back into 16 and a half and it locks another lower high or higher low, I think you could buy it closer to 16 and a half.
Klarna, which is now not trading at cash, but kind of close to cash.
Dude, what the hell is what's the ticker?
CLAR.
It's not KLAR.
Oh, sorry, KLAR. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's so ugly, dude. Buy now, sell immediately.
Oh God. It's
I'm going to look at the fundamentals on this one and see if
dude, go for it. Can I show you a chart that we talked about maybe 3 or 4 months ago? It'll make you cry.
Okay. Is it similar to Klarna?
No.
Oh yeah, no, I remember covering this. Yeah.
850, dude. $20, baby.
A SaaS name too, and the market was like, yeah.
It's a CDN, and I was like, it's not a bad company. It's a good company. I used to work with them. I don't know that this thing is done. Just saying. I don't know why it got so low on Fastly. It's still $3 billion market cap. Guys, it's a $125 stock when I used to trade it actively.
That's crazy.
Why is it $3 billion still? I just feel like, so the whole thing on the demise of Fastly here was like, oh, it's a CDN. Amazon offers the same product. All true. There's no need for it. You know, they'll just eat their lunch. Apparently it's not true now. This thing, the market had this priced expecting to lose money the last 2 quarters, and back to back, it's actually made way more money than the market was expecting. That'll do it right there. Fastly. Sleeper.
Duolingo.
Hey, look, it's at my downside targets. I'm positive this is what I said, like that we're going here. And we're below. We're below my downside targets. I said 120 because there's the number. There's the line. Good God.
And then it hit 80 right after that.
80. I think you could bounce to 120, 115, but beware.
Celsius.
Still long and strong, man. Don't even look at it. The whammies. Oh, God. I have whammies. Wait.
He gave up a lot of the pump.
Dude.
Has pumped.
You're joking, right? I did not realize that it saw $60-something. See, this is the other thing. This is the problem that happens when you don't look at your stocks. You don't realize it went to your target.
It was for like a couple seconds.
Dude.
But, I mean, it did hit it. It's good earnings.
I can't believe that happened to me. I'm still long. I'm not selling it. If you get 45 again, I don't hate it.
Axon.
Wow. I can't believe my crew just totally didn't even. I'm the only one sitting in that Celsius longs. Yeah, this is a recovery. This is going to try. This is a different kind of beast, though, for sure. It's right into that resistance here. This is a tough one. This one has already made the move, so you might get a bounce like this. If it can hold over 628, this 675 with support being close to 700. So in this box from here to here, this is your tradable range. This is about 620. So you want to see this get over that, and then you'll buy the next dip, something like that. So if you can get this trade on, it's close to wait for it to show a little bit more strength, and then wait for this prior resistance to turn into support is what I'm saying. And then you're a little bit more in the clear. Otherwise, 580, you could take a shot, but you're riskier.
American Airlines.
I like it. Delta Airlines, long. But have not. AAL, just garbage airline if you're going to pick them. This is the worst of the worst for a stock perspective. Just don't even look at this. Go Delta, go United. This thing is worse than Ford. Like, this is like many, many years of data here that I'm looking at. It goes nowhere stock. I don't know what to say. But if you want to go in the airlines, go pull up Delta and go pull up United. Don't go. You don't need to do this. Delta is trading at a good PE. It's just had a breakout and retested. And you probably have a mean reversion from a fundamental perspective. Here, you probably have something similar, but it's not like massive. I think that you can get to 14s. So it is a buy for a trade. Up to 14s, to me, depending on how you trade it, meaning like what vehicle you're using to trade it, it's risky because there's not a lot of upside here. Delta, better player. Same with United. Here's the option 2. Break, retest out of here. You've already made a higher high from that prior high. This is an uptrend. This is the bottom of that China channel. I like Delta way more than a lot of things. This is kind of like a contrarian bet also. We talked about oil and things like that. If oil doesn't continue and oil starts to pull back, that's actually going to be good for the airlines right here, right now. Not Boeing, that's different. Boeing is a turnaround story. It's a lot riskier, but the airlines themselves, is this a non-consensus trade? I don't know, but this was the other stock I was actually looking at.
Okay.
I like it.
Grabby grab.
Grabby grab. She's there.
Fell below 4 this morning on.
It did. Did you buy it?
No.
Are you DCing? You're fully exposed here. That's what's happening.
And the
His
premiums
bag-
aren't good here, so I can't sell calls.
No, his bag is full, guys.
Absolutely full.
Yeah, I think if you don't have it, you're probably gonna have a much better cost than Amit if you buy it here, and you can take that to the bank, and know that, like, one, you're not alone. Two, you're beating the goat near term, and be happy with just those two things. But otherwise, it's a hold.
Yeah, I think next quarter they really have got to. Here's my thing: simple enough. Like, the earnings picture is good, but it's not phenomenal. But the stock has been so depressed that either it's something out of their control, or they have control to change the stock price, and they just don't care. And if they don't care about the stock, I mean, people are going to not care to hold it.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I also like
I think
international.
in 5 months we have to see the management team make an explicit attempt to try to get the stock to move, because at this point it doesn't seem like they care about it.
The other thing, like in this scenario, to like, if you like things like this from an international perspective, well, maybe Korea's pulling back, well, maybe some Japanese ETFs or like Japanese equities are pulling back. I actually like those spaces. Like, from an international perspective, maybe not Singapore so much, but like EWJ is
well, the problem with international though is that the dollar's going up now, right?
Yeah, but is that big of a?
No,
dude,
it's not. But
look at this chart. The Japanese index, dude. This is a weekly chart. It's perfectly fine. Like, it's got a pullback at the highs. You just hit 95. But, you know, if you see low 70s again, you buy this bad boy and you ride it to 120. Like, that's.
I'm not buying Japan, dude. That doesn't feel like.
How do you not buy Japan?
It would need a bigger dip to want to buy.
You don't need a bigger dip. This is a weekly chart.
Dude, but the Nikkei
2021 breakout. This is like, you know how long this is like saying when gold's at 2000, oh, it's too high, right? Like, this is a
gold doesn't have a debt to GDP ratio of.
It's a 30-year breakout, dude. You come back in a couple of years and you'll be like, dude, so tell me again about this Seven Samurai thing, and I'll have you look it up, right? But yeah, it's just like it's. I like it.
Look, I don't hate it. I'd rather buy it.
Dude, a year ago, I was talking to you about buying Toyota. Remember that?
And Nintendo. Yeah.
And Nintendo. Nintendo, not so much. But like, Toyota at this price was like, well, you know, here we are. Friggin' fracked in NTND.
Ironically, Toyota has 250 million shares of Grab that they haven't sold.
Yeah, Nintendo. I don't know what's going. This is not right. Nintendo probably not doing the deal. But I just can never remember what the fast retail ticker is. Uniqlo, whatever. This is the Japanese Lulu. The real Lululemon, also known as Uniqlo. What a chart, dude. Anyways.
SMCI. Any hope for this one? I mean, Dell crushed it, right?
Dell crushed it. The market just don't like this guy. And I don't blame them. I still like it for all the same reasons that I would have liked it before. But I know that the market doesn't like it, and that's quite frankly more important than what I think. But the last time we pulled this chart up, I was like, you know, I think you could buy it here. My concern is it's probably more of an opportunity cost. This one would be like, if you still have this stuff in size or anything, you get a big bounce, it's probably got to be exit liquidity, dude. And maybe it gets to 40, 50. But yeah, I would definitely be using it as exit liquidity, because it's just not doing the deal.
Novo,
but I don't think you sell it here. Novo, no. What's
NVO?
I think they mean NVS. So I'm going to pull this chart up, okay? NVS. Are you familiar with this?
I'm not.
Novartis. So you guys,
with the company.
What's actually been happening is that everyone accidentally uses an O instead of an S on the ticker. But the real ticker that you should have been buying this whole time, you ready? Novartis.
You know, Palantir started working with them back in 23. So you're right. That's the only reason I remember covering them, because of the partnership with Palantir.
They'll be like, what?
Yeah, this was a way better long than Novo. Why did Novo get so popular on FinTwit? Like,
Dude.
it's a really big name. I've noticed over the past couple of weeks. No one talks about Novartis.
No, they don't, because it's like, it's a secret. It's a secret, dude. That it's the greatest biotech that you can buy, I guess. Did everybody know about Novartis already?
I mean, I'm pretty sure people have heard of it, but I don't think people invested. Also, Novo has the the whole weight loss thing going for it, so I think that's what got people much more interested.
Yeah, I know. Honest too. Novartis is not US.
Wow, Nikkei futures down. Hey, here's your Japan, buddy.
We're gonna take it, baby.
Why is the Nikkei down 2%? Hold on, where's the S&P? S&P is kind of flat. It's not really down. Why are they selling Japan, bro?
Dude, because they need you to get a better entry. I like it.
Imagine some Japanese market maker watching our stream right now. They're like, oh, these guys want to buy Japan? We press
I'll show them.
Show them how to buy Japan.
No, dude, these guys, I mean, they straight up kicked out their CEO. What can you say? It's about pipeline stuff. I just don't think it's got the greatest pipeline other than GLP-1s. And at this point, with their story kind of being wonky, I just don't see a big reason. And I don't know enough about biotechs. I'm not a biotech guy. Quite frankly, I've lost more money on biotechs than I have on any other type of stocks. Only because it was early and I just signed off of them in reality. But yeah, it's about the pipeline. It's about what's coming. The whole pipeline, not just one drug. One drug's not going to do it. But support is at 28 and a quarter, or in 3/4.
Okay, last 5, then we'll be done. Circle.
Yeah. The thing's been on a ripper, dude. Look at that ripper. I know one or two of my crew has been like just eating on this, but here it is at resistance. So this one's already made the move. This is post earnings. Circle had a good earnings move and continuation out of the gate. So it could, if it's over 106, you see 115. Hold for now. It's still on the bounce trajectory, but so $90 was a big deal level. If you see this back towards 90 or thereabouts and holding and getting bought back up against a little something like this, that's your buy in here. So wait for a pullback on Circle, and you want to see price react like this in this area below 90 down to 80, in between $80 and $90. This is going to be new support because that was resistance. You want to see if these people are FOMO buyers over here to make this happen.
Okay. In the same sort of fintech world, Visa and MasterCard kind of side by side.
It's so not even in the same world. But okay.
And they're embracing stable coins.
They've been embracing stable coins for a decade. Just so you know. I think it was MasterCard that had the first stable coin credit card with Gemini, the exchange Gemini. But yeah, I mean, this is like personal credit thing. There's some stuff going on with like LQD and HYG and that scenario. So this is maybe okay balance. Look, you zoom out on this chart. It's also very godlike. It's okay. I mean, if you don't own it, you can nibble, but it has actually lost a lot of its trend recently. It's going to try and reclaim it. So if it can reclaim this, same thing with MasterCard, you're basically there. Downtrend here was more or less broken. You've already broken the uptrend. So I had this chart on from before. This was the prior uptrend, hence since broken. But in this downward channel, trying to kind of like peak out of, I don't know, you're at a support level. I would rather MasterCard over Visa, but it's also like a bounce. They're not good traders. These are better for like long-term DCA. So if you like it here, have at it. If you see close to 450 and then 400, those would be a very long-term DCAs. But these are great companies, great charts. I would not even though this short-term trend is kind of broken, cracked a little bit, I would give it the benefit of the doubt for a while.
Okay, last couple. We talked about gold earlier in the show. We talked about SMCI, coin, or you could do CG, that one too.
Yeah, I just saw this in the chat. CG. So we talked about it before. I talked about it before in one of ours down in this area. I think it's good. You're right into, this is what I'm talking about. Profit target, first target acquired on CEG. So that's kind of like my issue here. So big bounces right into that first level of resistance where prior support turns into resistance. You can't chase this here, but you can look for a higher low to show up. This is one where I would be interested lower, probably closer to like 300, just under 300, 286s. I would be a buyer on CEG for a dip on the next dip. I like it. So I like this. This is energy. This is more utility-ish. But was the next one?
Coin.
The crazies here. So earnings coming. It's in a like 5-day range here. Now I'm zooming in. This bad boy gets just a penny higher. Over 190. She's going over 200, like 220s maybe. This is like a coiled whatever. This is the one I was talking about. It's like over 190, you're probably going to 210, like in very short order, and you could potentially see 225s. But to me, it's very short dated 200 calls. Coinbase volatility from options perspective, by the way, is actually not bad right now. It still burns like crazy if you don't get the move, but you watch this because I think you're going into this kind of, at least this area. And if you're really lucky, you probably test this 230s. So all of that to say, this is one that would definitely be on a watch for a 30% counter trend bounce, but that's all it is just counter trend right now. Is not invest, this trade watch.
All right, last one. We'll do Evans, HON, Honeywell.
Dude, this guy loves Honeywell. He's been watching this thing forever. His thesis on Honeywell is a GE thesis. Seems to be playing out. Buy. So I like it. Buy on dips. I like it a lot. This is going to be the industrial, the energy play. I actually like 3M. But yeah, this is another multi. I mean, what is that? How many years? Giving it to you, bro. 5-year consolidation break. It's happening. This is extremely strong post earnings. Yeah. With little to zero pullback. Not a lot of attention here, but if you see it around 228, that's a better.
Well, would it spin out or would it stay?
It's already spinning out.
Oh, it's already spinning out.
Like that's the plan for Honeywell.
Okay. There you go. That is what we got for today. And
I DM'd you a link.
Yeah, let me pull it up. So go ahead.
So I don't do this very often. But when we do, it's usually a banger. I'm going to try and find the stupid link.
I got it. Don't worry, I got it.
Oh, you're going to share it. So we're going to have a webinar. It's a free webinar. I always talk about this thing called NFP. Happens to be coming on Friday. If you're not sure what I'm talking about when I do this, look, I've not posted this anywhere other than my stream. So Amit, when you post it here, I'm capping this. I'm not posting it because I want to give my private crew and then you guys first dibs. I'm pretty positive we're going to be maxed out after today. So we're already close to full, but it's free. I'm going to teach the system. It's mostly like I have indicators. Yeah, sure. By the way, if you want them, we'll give them to you at a discount. Is that why you would attend? No, it's not. Why you would attend this? It's a totally free like mastermind training on this specific system, which by the way, 88% probability of being like super accurate within like 1% over the past 250 years. That's the kind of system I'm talking about. There's no other stat in the market that's better than this. This is a literal hack to the market. I cannot express that enough. A literal hack. But
it's something you've been this NFP thing, you've been very.
I'm the only one. Like, it doesn't exist anywhere else, but it's like I've hacked the freaking market. But come and I will teach it to you. You don't need to buy anything. I will teach you why and how it works and how to read it. So absolutely, I think it's probably some of the best value that we give out for free.
It's free. It's free.
Totally free. Yeah, no catch. No nothing. You don't buy nothing. You're going to learn the system anyways. It's pretty amazing. And if you do want things, one, we will give swag away, guaranteed. Stuff will be given away. And two, we will probably hook you up on other things that we do offer if you want to. Again, no pressure, no big deal, but it's a hack.
I know people thought the surprise would be Jason and I are like expecting or something, but unfortunately,
we are expecting.
This is not the surprise. But you do get a free webinar. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to be, I'm pretty sure I'm not even going to get to post it because we're going to be maxed out anyways. So make sure you register. I'll check later on if I do post it. It's because there's a couple of seats left, but there's not going to be a lot.
Can you sign up to watch afterwards?
No, that's the thing. No. So it's you got to be there. So you got to be there. We're not doing recordings, any of that kind of stuff. Like we want people there that are interested to learn the stuff. Maybe worst case scenario, we do an encore, but do not count on that. It's probably not going to happen. But do your best to show up, sign up if you can. And yeah, we'll cap it. We'll probably cap it at 500 people, but we're already like halfway there. So just say, and that's without your stream. Because dude, when I say it's recorded, nobody shows up. Like we want people to show up.
That's fair. I mean, it's a fair point. At the end of the day, you want people to. How long is it gonna be? Like 2 hours?
Maybe an hour, maybe like an hour or two. You can have it on the background. It's Friday. It's this Friday.
For those who want to check it out, that is the webinar, 4:30 live, and again, it is free. And so the non-farm payrolls are on Friday in the morning, so I'm sure going to be using that a lot.
It's after the close. But everything I talked about today, everything I talk about all the time, every month when this number comes up, I'm always talking about this being a fundamental event that creates a technical level in the future. There's nothing that actually tells you how this will create something in the future and how to react and how it creates the trend. Just saying that by itself is nice to know, but what we're going to do on this training is to teach you step by step exactly how to read what that means and when something's actionable and when you can like really rely on stuff and not guess anymore, and exactly what you have to be looking for as it plays out after the release.
I love it. And to Evan's question, will there be a market close tomorrow? So I'm saying this now, I'll say it in the morning, but yeah, probably not. I just did the math, and for me to get to Robinhood's event, it's going to be like an hour and a half Uber because it's pretty deep into the city.
It's in New York.
Yeah, it's near like it's near the JFK area.
What is the event?
I have no idea what they're going to announce, but it's something around family finance.
Oh, it's my accounts, baby. Trump accounts.
No, I mean,
Come
they
on.
might talk about that, but we're talking about new products, like real products that they're going to put out. So
I mean, that's 529s. If it's not a Trump account, it's 529s, which they don't have. I mean, they have something, but they don't have anything like that's easily shareable.
Jason, your thing is 4:30 p.m. Eastern, right?
Mine?
Yeah, it says Eastern.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll be okay. So 4:30 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, it's just after the close, but you get all the readings. You'll have to do your thing and then swing by after.
But yeah, I wanted to.
529s are not dead, dude.
Who
in the chat? Who has 529s? Amit already has a 529, and his child's not even born yet. If you don't, by the way, you should.
I want to be live for the close tomorrow because we have Broadcom, but when I was doing the math, I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do the close and be there on time. So guys, I don't think we could do the close tomorrow.
Dude, you know you.
And then Thursday, we're not doing the open either. So it's going to be.
Dude, you're giving these
Thursday.
guys.
It'll be a good reason to not do the open, but we will be back Thursday afternoon.
What's Thursday?
Something. I'll tell you after.
Okay.
do.
And then GTC, you're going to be here when?
So GTC, I will be there Sunday night. Actually, I'm going to be there Sunday morning, like early.
The 15th?
Yeah, like 9 a.m.
Not the 22nd. It's the 15th?
15th, yeah.
Oh, GTC is like right around the corner.
GTC is 16th to the 19th. I'm leaving the 19th night.
And we're doing a stream from, who else is going to be here?
So I don't know. So the thing is, I don't even know if we'll be free on the market close on Tuesday, or if NVIDIA has stuff to do. So we got to figure out the time, but Stock Talk will be there. Evan will be there. I think Gav will be there.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll all get dinner, all of us together.
Yes.
We'll figure it out.
And then we'll do a stream from.
We will try to do it. We got to see if the time.
Hot tub.
We should be able to, but it just depends on the exact timing. Because the problem is in West Coast, that means the market closes at 12:45, and at 12, that's right in the middle of the day. Usually, that's not the easiest. So
Monday's the Jensen keynote. I mean, so we got to do at least a group stream while we have the opportunity, because especially with Stock Talk, I mean, I've had Evan down here, I've had you down here, but never have we had everybody down here. Whether or not is the spaces, Evan's going to have like one of those paper bags or something, so he doesn't have to do the face reveal.
Dude, I love that no one knows what Evan looked like. No one.
I mean, yeah, unless
I know what he looked, but no one in the world knows.
Yeah. I don't know why he has it that way. He's a very handsome dude, by the way. So, you know,
I think the allure of the mystique is also kind of cool. You know, he's just
also kind of cool. It's the vibe, dude. It's the vibe.
It's the vibe.
It's the vibe.
Okay, so Jason's webinar.
Here, right? I guess he's got to be around. Yeah, or for GTC.
Yes. So Jason's webinar, putting that in the chat. Again, I will not be live tomorrow, but or on the close. But
2026 will be the year of the face reveal. Really?
Oh wow!
Really?
Dude,
that's
Evan,
a teaser.
you gotta.
That's a teaser for real, right there.
We gotta do like a. We gotta have like an event for his face reveal.
I mean, I'm gonna be with Evan in August. I know that for sure in New York, and
I don't know if I'm
I'm
gonna be able to make that.
I know, but I might just kidnap you and not tell anybody that you're going to show up, and I'll sneak you in the backstage. But literally, that's it.
We might be doing the UK in August too. So August is going to be a bit busy.
Well, I said I would. I just felt really bad when I didn't go to this last New York meetup, you guys. So I told Jess and Amanda, I was like, I'm just, I should have just taken a red eye to New York, and I felt dumb. So you need to tell me if I need to go to the UK, because we're just going to do everything I can to go to the whole circuit. All I know is there's Texas, Florida, New York, LA.
So LA's next. Again, the meetup, I'm putting that in the chat. Jason will be there.
Yeah.
Super fun. So.
Yeah. Do I just book the room? Are you putting me with everybody else, like in the same aisle, or are we bunkies, or what's the deal?
Oh, so I'll text you. You're gonna be in a hotel that's right nearby, because our hotel ran up out of signups.
Is that do I have my people in the chat that say I'm down for UK? Let's go. That's not me. That's probably one of my people.
There you go. Dude, I think the UK will be fun, because it's an excuse for anyone who wanted to go to the UK, which I've never been to. So
yeah.
And I think outside of the United States and Canada, the majority of people in the chat are from the UK. So
we have a lot of UK people in the server. I heard somebody.
UK is finance. Like, it's like one of the big centers of finance.
Forex, yeah. Finance, though, in general, for sure.
And London's a huge area for finance. So
it is, older than the US exchange. That's for sure. Yeah. It was before the buttonwood tree.
All right, so that is it. Jason, thank you again. I think we got through 50 tickers. They're all in the description. I'll put his webinar link in the description as well. You can sign up. And yeah, will we be back next Tuesday? Next Tuesday is what? The 17th? The 10th? No, we'll be good. So we'll be back on the 10th.
No, we'll not be here for Tuesday.
No, we will.
We will be here Tuesday. Okay. Yeah, I love getting the updates in my Monday streams from my chat saying like, yeah, Amit said you're working on Tuesday, by the way. Awesome. Good to know.
Dude, they like, I say one thing and it just travels so quick. And Jason's like, how about that? I was like, how did you even know that? Like, everyone just told me. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So quick.
That's how it happens. Yeah. And if you're looking for Amit's Discord, it's at papergains.com. So it is free. Hop in and you can do whatever charts or chats you want to do. but it's not actually his, it's mine. But but a lot of the crew is there. Shempasta. I heard Shempasta was at New York. Shempasta, School of Gains veteran right there, actually, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, dude. I mean, dude, I didn't know that he was in New York. I would have been there.
He gave me a Metallica vinyl.
Dude. See, this is what I'm saying. I should have been there.
Yeah, well, you'll be in LA, so that'll be a good one. All right, folks. Thank you so much. We'll have a daily recap out later. We'll be back for the market open tomorrow. And we'll keep going from there.
Adios. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye everyone.